YouTube. Appreciate you. Tell your friends about it. Hello to everybody in the chat. Well, that kind of went exactly as we thought it would, right? Just another game, another loss. It's weird to be at a place where Florida State, Miami doesn't mean anything. I said it in the build-up to the game on Saturday that I felt cheated and I felt robbed. I felt like every other Florida State fan feels, this past week with the relative interest being virtually none to watch that thing play out, and I feel it even more today. I feel even sadder today. Tom, if we weren't in the ACC, he'd be fired, but we don't have the money. So we don't have an additional $30 million to be able to pay off the 64 it would take to fire him. We'd fire him right now. He's orchestrated the worst season in modern football history after going undefeated. You'd fire his ass. You'd fire him today. You'd fire him. He's got virtually no chance, if any, to get this turned around. And now what you are is relegated to being on recruit watch, which ones you're going to lose, which has been most all of them, and another one over the weekend. And then who in that freshman class that you like will you be able to keep? Because that's all you're doing now is you're kind of counting down the days before you find out that your favorite players from the young class are transferring. Which ones of those are you going to lose? The two most high-profile guys are the two quarterbacks. Well, the one quarterback from the class, which is Kromenhoek. But you have two, technically. You have a redshirt freshman and a freshman. So do you lose both? Do you lose one of them? You're going to lose one of them. There's a good chance you lose both of them. Of the two young tight ends, do you keep either one of them? The freshman tight ends that we love, do you keep either one? I'm not sure. Maybe you keep one if you're lucky. Of the defensive backs that you like, how many of those do you keep? Of the young players, young receivers, how many of those do you keep? There's probably about 8 guys you really like from that class. I think if you're a fan, you're mentally preparing yourself to lose a minimum of 4 of those players. You wonder, he's not going to fire himself, so who is he going to fire? Does he do anything in season? You could certainly probably do something. I don't know what kind of impact it would have on those players and the incoming players. I'm thinking now about the strategy of what has to happen for Mike to find a 2.0. Can he? Will he? What has to happen for him to? And what the university does. Can you imagine now how, you can, because we're in it to some degree, but the ecosystem of Florida State's donors and alumni and boosters and businesses that are associated directly with athletics, with football in particular, how destroyed that ecosystem is right now, watching this play out. And how many of them are suffering. Like, I hear from them now all the time. I'm hearing so many business owners and big-time season ticket holders. And those are the kinds of emails you get now. Like, in the beginning, you got, well, maybe Mike should do this, Mike should do that. Then you got a louder group, the online group, and then you got another one, and then now it's not that. Now it's an email that's like, okay, he's done. It's a matter of when. What do we do from here? Who do you want, and how do you get there? I got an email at Saturday night late, and I was laughing. I was like, "Oh, that's the first one to come in." You know how your phone buzzes? My phone buzzed, and I got a new. Well, I get notifications, so it will buzz on my phone when I get an email, a text, any of that stuff. All right, look, stop the IPF and stadium remodel right now, and bank the savings. That's how the email starts. Don't fund any coaching changes. The staff can stay the same. Bank the savings. Cancel all your NIL deals except for players drafted from the high school ranks. You can bank the savings there too. No more money for NIL except to sign high school recruits. So you can bank the savings there too. Take all of this and add a massive fundraising and buy the entire staff out after next year or the year after. Borrow whatever is needed. But if he's still here in 2026, this program is doomed. And then he goes on, the email goes, that's one of many emails that I'm beginning to get on an hourly, daily basis. And I expected it. But I think it speaks to a shift in where people's heads are at. In the beginning, a lot of it was, oh, this is not what I expected. This is strange. I really like Mike too. I don't know what's going on here. And then that quickly turned into, we got bigger problems than just these first couple of results, guys. I don't think this team has very much talent. And then it became, well, should he begin to fire coaches? Because this is not going to get better, it doesn't look like. And then now it's just, screw him. We wondered when it would be that you bankrupted all of your goodwill from having turned the program around. Typically, it does happen where that indicator, where the evidence of that happens to be at its most visible and alarming, is after a loss where you're not competitive. You weren't taken seriously by your opponent. Miami didn't take you seriously. They went through the motions. They didn't take seriously that you were a rival or that you were, they looked bored. There wasn't any fire. It was sort of, they know what you are. They know you can't do anything about it. They know that they could sputter on offense and settle for field goals, and Cam could be under a lot of duress, and it was never going to matter. They knew this. He said as much, did Mario, at halftime when he was asked by the sideline reporter. Like, well, we've taken control of the line of scrimmage early on here. We're just having to settle for field goals, but I like where we're at. Yeah, you like where you're at because we're no threat. We're no threat. Once they were up 2 scores, the game was over. We were never going to be back in it. And so empty possessions and missed opportunities and sort of conservative play calling. You've noticed now, by the way, that this is what teams have figured out without hesitation. Duke did the same thing. Once we gifted them 2 scores, once they got up 2 scores, they're like, we're not very good on offense. Don't do anything like they just did to get them back in the game. Just make sure we don't give them any big plays. They're not really a threat. That was Duke. Miami certainly felt that way. You could tell by the way they played. It wasn't until it was very late in the game where Mario kind of realized, this score doesn't look so lopsided, does it? Maybe I'll call some flippity-do thing and throw it back to Cam Ward. That's the kind of thing that if I did that and they had a spirit to them at all, they might think about taking out some of my better players the next series. So I got to be careful with that, but they don't have any spirit. They're not going to retaliate the way that they should if this was a real program and a real rivalry. They're just going to take it, and they're just going to wait for the clocks to strike 0 so they can get on to the next. They're playing out the string. It's hard to imagine that it would be any different with a different collection of players at this juncture of the season, to where you see this intermittent stretch in games in which guys don't look to be all that interested. It's not constant. It's not throughout the entirety of a game. You do see some players who give max effort, others 50%, some less than that. And you think, oh, he's quit. Then the next series comes around and they suddenly have found renewed energy. I don't know if they were called out or whatever it might be, but something happens to make you believe and reconsider whether or not they've quit. And you say, oh, no, maybe he hasn't quit. Okay, I had it wrong. Looked like he was loafing the entire last series, but ran hard there. An hour later, you're like, oh, there he's loafing again. Okay. It's kind of hit and miss. It's not a total collapse. It's not a total give up just yet. I did like that they have gone to those young players. You don't have anything else to do but to go all young. It won't change the results of these games. It will change the way you view them. You will see these games for what they are, which is young players getting meaningful playing time in game action that might expedite their growth for when they transfer somewhere else. So good luck to them. And I'd like to know whatever this plan is in December that Mike is alluding to. I'd like to know what it is. I think we all would. I don't think, like many of you who reach out to me, that he should say something that helps indicate to you that he has got an idea of this plan, this, and this for these coaches or whatever. He's not going to do that. There's really nothing he can say after another lopsided loss in which the offense does nothing, as it never does. Like, he can't, there's no good way to describe that in a way that you're going to feel satisfied. There's not a thing he's going to do that makes you feel better about the ass kickings that you're taking every weekend as a fan of Florida State football. You know, you probably by now come to that conclusion, right? There's nothing he can say as of right now, short of walking into that media availability and saying, I fired everybody on my staff and I'm starting fresh. These last remaining games, I will be the only coach on the sideline. I mean, he's not, what's he going to do? You know, so he gets asked about why something doesn't work. He'll explain whatever surface level insight he wants to give, and then he'll comment on maybe something that shined bright for him. It could be a young player, it could be a significant play, whatever it might be, because he's a positive guy, so he's not going to just spend 45 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, any time whatsoever, just beating a dead horse, which is what it feels like for us covering this team and for you watching it every week, is that, you didn't like that last one, hang in there. The next one's going to be worse or the same. Didn't like that one, hang in there. We've got another one coming up for you on Saturday. Until they're all gone. Until you're 2-10, maybe. North Carolina looked good against Virginia, Tom. North Carolina looked like they may have found it.
Mac Brown is the last man standing. Bowl streak, the run against Duke. Mac Brown never having done it. This is it, Mac.
Well, if he doesn't do it now, he'll go to his grave never having done it. Because I don't think he's back next year at North Carolina. This will be his last game ever against Florida State, his old stomping grounds.
Then they'll put him on the desk with Nick Saban every once in a while, and those two can go back and forth about what winning culture is.
Well, I don't know that I don't know that there's anything Mike can do now to save himself. I think, he'll be back next year because they're not going to cough up $64 million or whatever it is to pay him off to leave. But if you need me to come up with a scenario by which you see somehow Mike resurrecting what's left of his career as a head coach, it would be that Kromenhoek plays well down the stretch, and maybe he plays great in a game like against Florida, throws for 300 yards, and you hit your wagon to him, and the young guys stick around because they see something in him. So those young receivers and those young tight ends are kind of like, I like this kid. I think he's got a little something to him. He didn't start playing quarterback in high school till he was a junior. So he's got a long ways to go, and you see it. You see some tools. You see the ability flash every now and again. You see that he's tough. The throw along the sidelines to Ja'Kai is a laser. It's gorgeous. It's pinpoint accurate. Right now, there's a lot of variety of what you get from him. You get the good, you get the awful, you get the, okay, I would have liked there to be a quicker decision on that. All of these things are going to show themselves. I think if you want to get into the quarterback sweepstakes, there's no guarantee you keep either one of these two young men, no matter what you do. But I would think if I were Brock and I got put back in for those last 2 series that you might be a little bit, I don't know, a little bit of the mindset I'm out. That was something. I don't know. He kept fighting. Good for him. Good for him. Everybody was going through the motions at that point on Miami's defense, but hey, 36-14. It is something, man. Never, even in awful years for them or awful years for us, have I gone into a game feeling as listless as I did to watch Florida State Miami on Saturday. And never have I been on the wrong end of a result that ugly to a rival in which there was no emotion elicited. I wasn't, there's a couple of moments in the game where I yell at the TV. A couple of moments where come on, man, you got to make that tackle or whatever. 3rd and 20 converted to a little throw to the back pissed me off.
Well, you're just waiting to see guys enter the picture to rally and, gain of 12, no big deal.
Yeah, you didn't.
4th and 8.
Yeah, no, he got 22 yards. 3rd and 20. So,
oh, there's nobody there.
Yeah, nobody. Miscommunication, we were told.
Was that man coverage, Jeff?
It was zone.
Well, surely zone on 3rd and 20 is, you can't screw that up.
Right. Is it a zone? Then we can screw it up. So, it's, I don't know how many times you got to watch it. I mean,
maybe they can bring spray paint cans with them out on the field. And before the play, you just watch them.
This is your area. You're not vacating.
Stay in here. Come on, coach, get back. Hang on.
Hold on. Like it's the video game where you have the red circle, the yellow circle, the green circle.
Throw a yellow. Hurry up. They're breaking the huddle.
Oh, man. But I didn't know. The point is the game ended and my family and friends know me. They know my passion for Florida State, obviously. They know what I do for a living. And it's customary for me to get many a text when Florida State doesn't play well or questions after they do play well or don't play, whatever, right? Or response to the games themselves, usually see many texts or calls. And I thought it was telling that I only got 2 because they too didn't care. Those fans who are equally passionate and die hard and who call Florida State their university, whether they went to school there or grew up supporting them or live in the community, whatever connection they have to the school. Even those folks were kind of like, well, at least it wasn't as ugly as it could have been. The exact same reaction that most of us had to the Clemson game, which is you're on the wrong end of a thorough ass kicking, and you're saying, it wasn't humiliating. That's where you're at. That's where your head's at.
This game was actually closer. It felt closer in the throws than the Clemson one did. The Clemson one felt like they were dilly-dallying on a level that Miami wasn't. And you're saying, 17-7, got the ball. Let's go over the 50-yard line. Might put a scare into them.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't really feel that way. I never really felt like we were a threat.
Well, Mario's a threat. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
you get it to 17-14,
this
this guy's going to call 3 runs. And you never know.
Well, we weren't going to stop the run on this night. We didn't.
Well, they might fall.
There
were some misfits.
Oh, some misfits.
Yeah, missed fits. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was
did they happen to be on 3rd and 4th and short? Because every time they lined up on 3rd and 4th or short, the whole world knew who was getting the ball and where it was going, and we were powerless to stop it.
Yeah, they were 8 of 10 on 3rd and 4th downs in the first half.
Yes, and they didn't do anything creative.
And one of those misses was accounted for by a 4th down. So you had the one time where you had 3 consecutive negative plays.
We'll just do this again.
Right. Otherwise, it was 3rd and 4, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 20, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 10. Didn't matter.
No, never does.
If they didn't get it, 4th and 2, 4th and 1.
And they were going to get that, and they were going to run it right up the gut.
Norvell did say it was frustrating that there were missed fits because it's not exactly complicated what Miami does.
No.
That was today.
Well, listen, I think we have building evidence that Fuller's gone. I mean, don't you think that is kind of playing out before your eyes? Even though you'd rightfully say, well, wait a minute. They've been occasionally decent on that side of the ball, whereas the offense has been constantly bad. Fair enough.
That is a fair point.
But fair enough. But I think he's gone. I think you see a relationship fractured and done.
Well, it was unfortunate that the TV camera caught them in a post 12 men on the field or 13 men on the field.
The second time?
Yeah. The first time it was Papuchis. That's who they caught the exchange with. Mike did not like the answer. And then the second time was the Fuller one. Also kind of telling the dynamics, because Mike is standing closer to the field and Adam behind him, and Mike looking behind him at Adam. And then when he looks away, knowing that he is shielded from his defensive coordinator seeing him, there's body language. It was like, ooh, man.
Yeah.
But that's unfortunate timing, much like much of this season, for the camera to catch that specific interaction.
It's happening more. It's going to continue. I think you're getting indicators. I would bet, and I said this before, and I know we got a break, I think most of those coaches are actively looking for a life raft. They are trying to find another job. Wouldn't you be? I mean, I think you know that if he doesn't fire you, you're still just a dead man walking with Mike at this point.
Yeah, and to follow up on last week very quickly, I expected to hear something yesterday. Frankly, I was a man of my word because I thought it was going to happen. Something, anything. So I cleared the schedule. 10 a.m. rolls by, 10:30, 11, 11:30, noon. I'm like, well, they're not going to do it during the NFL window. Although somebody did. I forget who. Somebody fired their coach.
Yeah, somebody did.
East Carolina, somebody did. But I thought for sure. And then Wiley decommits. I'm like, oh, well, surely now. No. Okay. All right. We're going to roll on into a Monday.
Well, what's going to happen? Again, I do think it's unusual and pretty rare. It's less rare than it used to be, but it's pretty rare. This late in the season, this firing coaches means more work for you at this point, unless you're sending messages to recruits, unless you're sending messages to perhaps candidates.
I'd like to send them another message that counters somewhat in some way. Losing again,
I don't think you can though, Tom. I think this is the crux of the issue now. You're really kind of stuck in a bad way. You're stuck in that you can't do anything about the head coach right now. You're stuck because it doesn't do you any good, I don't think, to fire a coach in the season. Maybe it does. Maybe I'm wrong about that. What message are you sending other than, hey, we're losing a lot and I'm beginning to fire my coaches?
So Corey asked him about, the dual mindset about looking towards 2025 while also looking at North Carolina, the game this week. And Mike did concede and acknowledge that you're thinking about two things at once. They always are with recruiting, but he did concede.
I'm not so sure they always are with recruiting around here. But go ahead.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But there was an acknowledgement. He didn't, sometimes you would see a coach in that situation refuse the basis of the question and say, we're focused on North Carolina. What are you asking about?
Yeah.
Mike did acknowledge that.
Well,
it's just that for me, the recruiting calendar is so messed up. It's the Wednesday after Florida. So what, are you going to wake up on Sunday and say, okay, now you're fired, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. Let's see if in the next 72 hours we can make a lot of phone calls and make this thing work before Wednesday. That just seems silly to me, especially because the portal window opens up another half a week later. The way the calendar is compressed, these pressures are here, and it felt like an opportunity, word that he loves to use, would be after your rival smokes you without even trying to smoke you.
I wonder what the plan is, because I'm serious about this. I don't know what it could be. I don't know how you counteract this. Chef Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Dream it, plan it, do it. Brian Barnard's Flooring America offers a straightforward way to shop with our streamlined shopping.
Finding the right flooring is simple. Visit our newly remodeled showroom featuring the Room to Explore shopping experience, where our knowledgeable staff will walk you through the steps.
Our family has been serving the area since 1976 with a local staff of more than 35 people trained in flooring sales and design. We know floors.
And we know styles. Let us help make your home timeless.
Brian Barnard's Flooring America, where friends send friends.
Know your body and transform your life with DexaFit Tallahassee, your go-to for science-backed health insights. Their DEXA scan gives you the most accurate body composition available, measuring bone density, muscle mass, in both subcutaneous and visceral fat. Get the data you need to track progress and make real changes. Your VO2 max is the best indicator of health and longevity, but it offers more than just a number. It shows respiratory function, calories burned at different intensities, and whether your body burns fat or carbs, helping you train smarter. DexaFit's RMR test reveals how many calories you burn at rest and the type of fuel your body uses, so you can dial in your diet for weight loss, muscle gain, or maintenance. And their red light therapy soothes sore muscles, reduces inflammation, and rejuvenates your skin. Right now, get a DEXA scan and red light therapy for just $99. That's a $184 value. Call 850-510-7728 or visit DexaFit Tallahassee's website to book. Know your body and transform your life this fall with DexaFit.
Pinch a Penny Pools has the largest selection of premium hot springs hot tubs in the city. You might even call it Tallahassee's Hot Tub Hub. 12,000 square feet of hot tubs, with over 50 of them on site. Over 20,000 gallons of tub capacity to choose from. That's 4,620,000 cubic inches of hot tubs. But I digress. So why should you own a hot tub from Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. Number one, health benefits, of course. The healing powers of soaking in a hot bubbling pool of water go back centuries. Google it. Number two, Pinch a Penny has hot tubs with technology called Freshwater IQ. It gives you real-time chemical readings and tells you exactly what to add to keep the water at peak perfection, with automated analysis to help you control the chlorine and pH. It's hot tubs for dummies. Sign me up. Number three, they have the best prices, of course. Plus, you get a free accessory and no interest financing. Easy peasy. But if you don't want to take my word for it, check them out yourself. Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. Locally owned, locally operated, and the easiest way to find relaxation at home.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Tom, I think I'll have to check on the final of some of the NFL stuff. I know that I went undefeated with my college picks this weekend.
All right. You mean NFL stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. A.J. Brown was over. Jamar Chase was not. Jalen Hurts was over. I don't think Burrow was. I'll double check it. score did go over the total. So I think your boy over here is looking at an 8-2 or 7-3.
I think that's right. I was watching a lot of these scores on the crawl or games directly. Obviously, you started well with Notre Dame and Navy for the total for Notre Dame. Navy decides to give away the ball 4 times. That'll help.
Yeah, that was an easy one. Notre Dame over 31.5. That hits. I had Iowa minus 14. I didn't think Northwestern would have a chance in that game. They didn't. Didn't understand why UCF was a favorite over BYU.
Boy, oh boy. There was no, that's what they were thinking moment. There was none of that.
None of it. I had BYU. That was that. I knew Georgia Tech was all beat up, so I took Virginia Tech and laid the 10. They covered easily. Boise, it stressed me out, but they got the big drive late in that game to go up by 5. I gave the 3.5, whatever that was, won that one. Bowling Green did not muster more than 46 points. I got that. And, so that's an undefeated top half of the schedule there, 5-0.
So I had a bad beat yesterday. It was a toughie. Remember I was talking about looking at Bucky Irving at 65 rushing yards?
Mm-hmm.
So I watched warm-ups from afar as best I could, and he was
out there
looking good.
Yeah.
So I said, let's do it. And I got it at 5.5 to 1. Dude, 5.5 to 1
Yeah,
on 65 rushing yards.
Good call.
He had 30 yards in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Nope. Abandoned the run. Completely abandoned the run.
Well, yeah, you got down a couple scores, and then
they were down 1 score most of these drives, but sure as hell, play action this, play action that. When they started the game,
just running the ball,
imposing their will on the ground. They forgot about it. All right, Liam, I see you.
He's done a good job. I like him a lot.
I do
lot.
too. No, that's personal yesterday.
Yeah,
personal.
It's a tough one, buddy.
Come on, dog.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Well, I had a good day and a bad day in the NFL. I won more than I lost, but some of the player prop stuff hit for me. A couple of them didn't, but that's all right. Cincinnati is just abysmal on defense. Good for you, Jameis Winston. I had a chance last night to reach out to Antonor Winston and congratulate he and the Winston family on Jameis's return to the role of starter in the game that he produced against the Ravens, in which he was very, 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 very good, and including clutch late with that touchdown. And Winston goes over 300 yards, doesn't have an interception in the game. Hey, did you know that Flacco, in 5 of his 9 games when he came in for Deshaun Watson, threw for over 300 yards? Jameis Winston in for Deshaun Watson threw for over 300 yards and a few touchdowns and got the win. So the last 10 times that somebody other than Deshaun Watson started at quarterback, 6 of those times the player has thrown for over 300 yards and had some success, to say the least. You know how many times Deshaun Watson, since being a Brown here in these last couple of years, has thrown for over 300 yards? None. Now, imagine if you had to go back to him, if you're the head coach, and your management says, when he's right, after this surgery, going into next year, we're starting him again. Can you imagine having to look your players in the face? Because they're very well aware of how much better they are with anybody other than Deshaun Watson is starting. Like, imagine if you're Nick Chubb and you rehabbed to come back again. And then going into next year, they're like, we're going to go with Deshaun. We're feeling good about Deshaun. No, man. You can't do it. The weekend began gloriously because on Friday night, you got the Freddie Freeman grand slam with 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th, down a run. And one of the good guys of the game has a grand moment to help beat the Yankees in an amazing walk-off grand slam fashion. And then on Sunday, if you call that the bookend, I guess, you got to see my man, Jaden Daniels, cementing that rookie of the year, Tommy.
Yeah.
Cementing that rookie of the year.
Voters for things like this can be swayed by a play.
No, it's just another win, and it adds to the legend. It just adds to the lore.
Well, I got to tell you, we do need to have a Sunday together here in the near future where we can go when the Commanders are playing concurrent to the Bucks.
Yeah.
And see how these lifelong Commanders that are in town, we see you have to be getting wasted every weekend with joy.
Giddy. They're going to be, imagine being in that division with them now. If you're the Cowboys and the Eagles, you're like, really? So they got the guy. They got the guy. He's one of those guys.
Especially the Cowboys.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're stuck.
Right.
They're stuck. And they just got the guy.
You think they should have put in a 90-day money-back guarantee on the Dak deal?
Ooh, man. Hey, really quickly, I'll just let you know that we got it right. We thought that this World Series would catapult baseball ahead of football in terms of viewership and the ratings that came in. The first two games of the series between the Dodgers and the Yankees, you talk about a gift for Fox, averaged 14.5 million viewers. Averaged. That is the most since 2017. Saturday's game, by the way, averaged nearly 14 million, dropped a little, but peaked at 16.35 million. They peaked at over 17 million in the Friday game.
Tonight's their night to flex.
Yes.
Because there's no college football to battle, and Friday night typically is death on ratings. So here's their chance to flex.
Well, you get it back in New York. Yankees have to win. Can't go down 3-0. The series is over if they do. They're basically in a must-win now in New York, and it's going against the Steelers and the Giants. Now, the Steelers are formidable in terms of a ratings bank, but the Giants are so bad. I think people will just, by virtue to default, just say, well, I'll flip over to the World Series. It is Yankees, Dodgers, and all the stars are out.
So one thing, they did not explain this very well in the broadcast on Friday. I saw Noel Kev put it in there. So they walked. They had a intentional walk situation to get Freddie Freeman up in that moment. No, first base was open. Joe Davis said it in passing.
Yes.
But the moment that there's a catch that takes a player out of play, and then he threw the ball back in from the stands, the runners automatically are awarded another base. So it was second and third, open base at first. That's when you walk Mookie Betts because you have more chances.
Well, and you also have
force outs.
Yeah, more forces, and you also have the left on left.
And you have left on left, but you chose the wrong lefty. I just love that for Aaron Boone. I love that.
But he would argue, and I could understand his point. His other lefty is a ground ball pitcher, and he says basically you can't double Ohtani. So he's going to put the ball in play, and they're going to tie the run. I'm playing for the win. I'm going for a strikeout. So the lefty he went to is a strikeout pitcher, and I'm trying to get a strikeout here.
I hear that, but the problem is he's pitching to Freddie Freeman who can't walk. And he can't walk, let alone run to first base. So a ground ball, you've got first base all day for a force. Secondly, Nestor hadn't pitched in a month.
No, I get that.
He's
a starting pitcher. So, yeah, I get it. The thing is, it almost works because you get the pitch to Ohtani. It's just 2 pitches. He only threw 2 pitches. The first pitch, he gets the pop-up that he wants. And, nobody can – it's all set. Look, he didn't get it in far enough, basically. Is the bottom line, he didn't get it into to Freddie far enough, and Freddie did what he did to that ball. That was as pissed on as you'll see.
I hate it for Aaron. I do.
No. Oh, man. But peak viewership was nearly 18 million for the World Series. Good for them, man. Good for them. It's Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 80. Northeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight. Lows dip down to about 64. Mainly clear skies tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 83. Mainly sunny skies and dry Wednesday and Thursday with highs in the mid-80s. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 72.
Roofing and construction services. T5construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those dark leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Spark Enterprises. Roofing and construction services. T-Spark. T5construction.com.
CCC 133-1204. Do you think our country's going in the right direction, or does it feel like everything's falling apart? If you're a bit concerned, you're not alone. In fact, Americans from all walks of life have taken action to prepare for whatever's coming next. And that starts with having an emergency food supply.
This is G. Deckerhoff. In 1979, my friend Guy Moore opened his first store. Over 45 years later, Garnet and Gold is still providing the Seminole Nation with unique ways to show their spirit. As the last locally owned FSU merchandise source in Tallahassee, we're proud to be a part of the Florida State experience and this community. If you're a Seminole like me, this is your store. Garnet and Gold. Go Noles.
Go to my .com right now.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti, right?
Yeah,
and then
Yeti.
Here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And, but
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I was cracking up laughing. I get a text from, basically, it's my wife and my kids are all on one text thread, Tom. And you want to know that I'm raising a high schooler? A teenager is a better way of saying it.
Oh, boy.
Here you go.
Careful.
So my wife forwarded to all of us an email she got from the school. And the email was, "Congratulations, Bryce Lowell Cameron. You've earned honor roll for the first 9 weeks. We're proud of your commitment to earning outstanding grades. Keep it up. Our honor roll celebration will be held this Thursday on the field. Come by and get free pizza and other sweet treats sponsored by PTO." So just a nice, hey, heads up, kid did good. So Christy forwards it to Bryce. Bryce's response is, "Hell no, I'm not going to do that again. I have a car. I go off campus and eat good food."
It's his father's son.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you respect that answer because it's snobby.
It's truthful. It's truthful. He's like, "Yeah, man, no, I'm good."
And he needs the calories. Keep packing them on.
He does.
Get your free calories. There's a lot of them in that food.
Oh man, he had 90 yards of kickoff returns in the game on Friday, and then tore his groin. Oh, he's done.
Not really?
Yeah, he's done.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, he got up the next morning on Saturday, and he looked like he was 88 years old. He was trying to walk down the hall, limping, could barely move.
You got to be careful. Does Leon have an injury policy like the college team? Because you might have just let a cat out of the bag.
No, I'm not worried. He's done. They got like one game to go. It's amazing. I have not checked the chat here today other than when we started the show. So let me get to this. Colby writes, "After you see Cam Ward dance down the sideline one time, how don't you have Conrad Hussey in the game to welcome him to this rivalry?" I want to address this. Thank you, Colby. Tom brought it up on Friday when we were talking about the game. And it's any player that does this. There are a few players that do this. Quarterbacks in general seem to have taken carte blanche with the rules these days about needing to get out of bounds or not, because they are so closely monitored for anything that is perceived to be violent or a slight, and how defenders have to legislate themselves in such a way or comport themselves in such a way as to not touch the quarterback with too much vigor. Quarterbacks seem to think they can just do whatever they want. And Cam is chief amongst them, but he's not the only guy who is guilty of this. It's this idea that I'm clearly running out of bounds. You know I'm running out of bounds as a defender. I'm not quite out of bounds yet, but I am. You can see that I'm going there, and it would be unnecessary of you to light me up, even though I'm still in the field of play. This isn't a race to the sideline so that I could avoid harm by getting my foot out of bounds before you hit me. For if you do, it is most certainly a penalty. And there will be grievous gyrations as everybody jumps around and acts like a major crime was committed. But even if I'm not out of bounds at the moment and you do it, the refs will view it as unnecessary since my intent is obvious to get out of bounds. That is a very long-winded and wordy way of me saying that I would really like to see defenders begin to take people's heads off for this nonsense. If you're on the field of play and you have not successfully made it to the out-of-bounds white part of the chalk there, then I am going to try to decapitate you. Okay, maybe that's harsh. I am going to try to decleat you. That's a better adjective, better way of describing what I'm going to attempt to do. One way or the other, you're going to get hit and hit hard with everything that I have because A, a message will be sent, and B, it is Bush League, this sort of walking around by the sideline for fear that I'm not going to get hit. It's sort of like in the modern parlance, we talk about how brave everybody is online. These are people that have never been hit, and they feel free to say whatever they want to say to somebody with the protection of a computer screen and an alias. Whereas in the real world, prior to that, if you said certain things to certain people, you are an ass beaten, and you learn very quickly, I can't just say those things. I can't just say whatever I want to say to somebody. There may be repercussions. Quarterbacks need to be aware of the repercussions. Quarterbacks need to be aware that if you're going to be a prima donna and dance your way and then walk to the sideline as if you're dismissing your opponent, because it's disrespectful, then you should be made to suffer the consequences. And early in this game, when we did not do that, I thought this is another thing that makes me sick about where we're at as a team and this rivalry. We didn't take it upon ourselves to send that message loud and clear. This is not just another game. I'm going to light your bitch ass up if you're going to over here prancing.
Even if you do it and you're a step out of bounds, I'm still doing it.
Yes.
I am. I'm still doing it. Screw you. Screw you. You are, because you're dismissing me when you make this move. And I'm going to show you that you do not dismiss me. The only way that I will be dismissed is by the officials if they eject me for doing this one step late.
Yeah, but I'm going to be known.
We're not doing this dance. Not happening.
No, it's a competition. We're not doing it.
And unfortunately, we had such a golden opportunity in that moment because he was 2 steps out. He took an extra step before he was out of bounds. And Quindarius Jones will learn. He's a young player. If this were a veteran, it would have been...
I don't even know. We've got some veterans who don't do things that they ought to do.
I'm not defending them. I'm just saying if it was a veteran, the response on my end would be a little bit more harsh.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sorry, yeah.
If it was a 4th-year player, I would be more angry. He can learn in that moment. But damn it, if Miami didn't take every opportunity they could to add one man to the pile, to throw an extra forearm, to hit our quarterback late, this was something that, as I thought about it more, I got mad about on Saturday, which is, remember Matthew Thomas breaking the tooth off of Brad Kaya.
It was a glorious moment in time.
After our quarterback was taking late hit after late hit, or at least to the echo of the whistle, whatever you want to say, but it was a hit that was fit for this rivalry. A hit that honors what this game is.
Correct.
And Matthew Thomas says, 2 can play that game. Here you go, son. To the helmet.
Yeah, it was glorious.
It was.
I'll always love him for that.
And they brought it in that regard on Saturday. Miami did, and we did not. We had a few players who decided to play at that level, but most of them turned it down, which the more you think about it, the more the FCC and me don't jive, because that's the kind of stuff where you say hateful things.
Yeah, it's tough to watch. It is. It's tough to watch. And I get, I'm a late middle-aged, however you want to say it, guy behind a microphone saying what I would do. I get it. But I get a little bit about football too and how it's played. And I also understand that, if you have a team of guys that play on the edge and play for keeps, then that kind of stuff isn't tolerated in a rivalry like this. And by the way, I don't take umbrage with Miami doing what they did.
Oh, they're honoring the rivalry.
Yeah, they're playing the game.
They're playing the
They're
game.
playing the game.
Who's Mickey Andrews smiling at on Saturday?
Right.
If
Right.
you take away the colors and the uniforms, and you just say, which team is he smiling at? He's smiling at Miami. He's not smiling at us. And Tony says it in the chat. Earl Little played that way. Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
It's amazing to watch Earl Little get downhill and make plays, and watch Shaheem Brown and compare those two. Watch that game on Saturday. Compare those two players. Compare Edwin Joseph and Cypress when it comes to physicality. I know they're playing different positions. Doesn't matter. There's a will and a want to. Ventrell wants to cover, but when it comes to coming downhill and hitting, we have a lot of veterans who are turning that opportunity down. And when you lay a hit like Matthew Thomas did, when you have a moment like Jamie Robinson did 2 years ago, we never forget that. People still talk about Stanford Samuel's hit. We lost that game.
Yes,
but
we
people
did.
still talk about it.
I was there. I was sitting right by where it happened.
Earl Little tried to have a moment like that, and I applaud him for that.
My eyes are terrible. Is that C Black or C Block?
C Black.
Appreciate you, C Black. Jeff, Mike is not built for college, big-time college football. Well, that is a sentiment shared by many Florida State fans currently. Sky Ninja writes, please explain to me how no staff changes have been made. Why not just at least move on from Dugans? We've lost all of our 25 wide receivers. It's not like he's tied to a recruit. Now, I actually thought it was entirely possible that would be the announcement that we were going to get, that Tom expected to hear. It seems like that is the most obvious candidate to be fired in season. Your receivers are awful. They frequently don't catch, don't block, don't run right routes. And he has lost all of the commitments. So it would seem to me that that would be a candidate that you would move on from if you were going to send that message. Clearly, Mike doesn't want to do that right now. We'll see which guys he plans to get rid of and when. I think it's going to be at the end of the year, obviously. Ian writes, you deserve what you tolerate. That is true, especially if you see guys loafing and then they get put back on the field. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachian Parkway.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Sellers, are you stuck between wanting to sell your home and waiting for rates to fall? Are you worried about the contingency of having to sell your home? What if you didn't have to? With a 2-1 rate buy down, you can lock in a lower interest rate for the first 2 years of your mortgage and get the home you want now, all while having a higher chance to buy that next home with the contingency of selling yours. If you wait for rates to fall, you risk more competition, sellers less likely to wait, and paying more for that next property. If you're stuck, we need to talk. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. Again, this is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. That's 954-369-6171. And don't forget, for every loan we close for our fellow Noles, I will personally donate $250 to the Battle's End.
Equal housing rate, NMLS number 373031.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1861186.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pockets Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas. Brought to you by Fulmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee.
A field goal as time expired gives Green Bay a 30-27 win over the Jacksonville Jaguars at Everbank Stadium yesterday. Jacksonville on the road at Lincoln Financial Field Sunday afternoon against the Philadelphia Eagles as 7.5-point underdogs, a total 47.5. Monday Night Football today, Steelers laying 6 at home against the New York Giants. College football Saturday, it's Florida State, a 2.5-point home dog to North Carolina, 50.5 the total at Doak Campbell Stadium. Georgia and Florida meet in Jacksonville, Everbank Stadium. The Bulldogs are the 17-point favorite, 52.5 the total. Cash back for every bet with a GBank signature Visa card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
This report is sponsored by the After School Alliance. Across the U.S., 1 million people are rallying for After School this October. The 25th annual Lights On After School is organized by the After School Alliance to share the many ways after-school programs support students. Superstar Usher is honorary chair this year. Thousands of Lights On After School events are showcasing the skills students gain and the talents they develop after school. Events will feature science fairs, student performances, academic contests, student art shows, community service, and more. Alliance Executive Director, Jody Grant.
After-school programs keep our kids safe, inspire them to learn, and give working parents peace of mind. But millions of children are missing out. For every student in an after-school program, 4 more are waiting to get in. We need to invest more in after-school to help our youth succeed in school and in life.
Visit www.afterschoolalliance.org to learn more about Lights On After School.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to drink water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. You're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mandlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Social Kitchen on Cary Forest Parkway is your place for all things related to football season. Need steaks? Social Kitchen. Need chef-prepared sides and appetizers? Social Kitchen. Need desserts for a party? Social Kitchen. Anything you need this fall, Social Kitchen has you covered. Tallahassee's only premier market where you can receive the famed Snake River Farm steaks and premier meats. Social Kitchen also has chef-prepared meals and sides that are ready to serve in under 20 minutes. Stop in or visit online at socialkitchentlh.com. Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
season. We'll take in the rest of college football, the NFL. You know what today is, Tom? I bet you weren't aware of this. I bet many of our listeners are not aware of this. I understand why you wouldn't be. You're kind of aware of certain elements of this, but maybe didn't put it all together. The sports equinox is here. Obviously, if you look at the calendar in sports, I don't know if you're this way, Tom. I'm very sports calendar inclined. So the way I view history is through the lens of a sports calendar. So if you tell me that something happened, I can usually in my mind pinpoint the year based on something significant that happened also in sports. So if it's a non-sports thing, in my lifetime, I'm not talking about like 1913 or something like that. I'm talking about in my lifetime since I've been aware of sports. You know baseball season, you know football season, you know basketball season, you know hockey season, you know all the seasons. And when they overlap like that today, it's called the sports equinox. As the season winds down in baseball, you have the beginning of basketball and hockey.
Basketball.
There it is. But with game 3 of the World Series taking place tonight, alongside Giants Steelers tonight, 11 NBA matchups tonight, 8 NHL matchups tonight. If you were so inclined and you watch MSL or MLS, I should say, then there you go. You've got a bunch of Major League Soccer to go into this with as well. There are 2 playoff matches there. You have, there it is, the biggest possibility of a quad box ever. Is tonight. It's tonight. It's that much of all of the sports simultaneously. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's a gambler's paradise.
Our hockey club is not bad this year. They've got some pieces.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. I'm telling you. This is
okay.
Not like cup worthy. It's just that they have a future now. It's not stagnance. And let's just keep the stars. They got a couple things going for them. So that's going to be on one of the TVs tonight. And then the World Series.
Of course.
You know, because Fox takes the time to put these things out in 4K.
Oh, they're awesome. I watch every one of them in 4K.
More likely to watch a college football game over another where I feel indifferent. If one's in 4K, I'm going to the 4K. I'm doing it.
Well, you want to take advantage of your TV's capabilities.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Fox does not shy away. I'm so glad they had the National League playoffs this year because dating back to the division series, all these games I've watched, and I stuck with it this year. Usually I check out when we're done. This World Series has been great, and the 4K has made it look even better, partner.
When you get a opportunity, I think about it through the lens of a play-by-play guy, though, too, man. He has nailed it. That call of the home run from Freeman is really good.
Well, he's been thinking about it because he's the Dodgers' hometown announcer.
Tough to do better. I mean, that was really good. And he is really good. You know who hasn't been good in this series? Aaron Judge, who's 1 for 9 with 6 Ks. By the way, it should be noted somebody needs to wake Aaron up tonight and let him know that the playoffs started some time ago. He is 6 for 40 with 19 strikeouts.
Enjoy the back pages if you don't rally. Boy, oh boy, the Pinstripe fan clubs. I never liked him. He was never like Jeter. Give me Paul O'Neill over Aaron Judge. What is this? Trade him and keep Soto. Sign Soto and trade Judge. That's what I'd do. I was a little too Bill Burr, but it was close.
Soto was playing well. For much of that game the other night, Soto had the only hit, which was a home run for the Yankees. Also, by the way, both managers, what are we doing here? What are we doing pulling our starting pitchers 5 1/3 into a game in which one of them had given up 1 hit and the other one was at 85 pitches?
Yep.
What are you doing?
Buddy, 85 is the new 100. It's happening
It's
all over this postseason. 85 pitches in control. It's third time through the lineup. It's happening.
Garrett Cole is a big man, and he was pitching well. That is a big man. He can throw more than 85, 88 pitches. He can throw 110 pitches. It's the World Series. We're trying to win the world. And, hey, here's the thing, Aaron. my man, Boone, that is, look, you had to go to 4 relievers because you pulled your starting pitcher too soon.
4 relievers.
Now, but if you do it the right way, Tom, you might be using your closer there instead of your 4th reliever.
You know who did it the right way? Come on. You can say it.
Jeets.
Joe Torre. He did it the right way. He knew how to manage personalities. He knew how to manage a bullpen. Even Girardi knew a little bit better than this guy.
That's so funny.
Joe Torre understood.
You can do it is my favorite part of what you just said. Go ahead.
You can do it.
But you're right about the back pages. 6 for 40 with nearly 20 Ks. 1 for 9 in the World Series with 6 Ks. Whoo.
All rise my ass. Rise my blood pressure.
So we got the sports equinox tonight. Good. By the way, speaking of which, Ohtani's good to go. The Dodgers were encouraged that he would not miss any time. I did look into this, not what he said or what the Dodgers believe, but rather what was described as a subluxation. And that then, if you looked into it closer, is defined as a partial dislocation of the shoulder, but he's going to play. Ow. Ow.
I like how it gave Smoltz a chance to brag that he had that 13 times in a year and he played through it. Oh, come on now.
Yeah. Well, you would, though. You would play through it. You going out there. It's a World Series.
You know, 13's a baker's dozen. You know, that's how many of these I had.
Yeah.
He'll play.
Yeah. He's got to play.
I mean, if he doesn't, he's soft.
You love when I do this, so since I accidentally fell into baseball to start the hour, I'll give you this one. According to TickPick, I just like how Tom always goes, oh, okay, you got it right.
That's where their commercial campaign gets it right.
Yeah.
What did you say?
According to TickPick, the get-in price, the minimum cost of a ticket for tonight's game is $922.
It's a lot cheaper than it was on Saturday morning.
It's down 40%. It was $1,521 on Friday, October the 24th, the day of the series opener. The average ticket price for the 3 games in the Bronx is $2,112, down 30% from Friday. Yankees fans feeling a little doom and gloom, but how quickly it turns around, by the way, because if you win tonight, you get a bullpen game in game 4, and then you're back to Cole. So you can turn it around tonight.
I think the league, the network executive,
they want a Yankees win tonight desperately.
The umpires, absolutely. Hey, you want to get paid for an extra night's worth of work? You cannot let this thing get to 3-0.
Well,
you want TV ratings moving forward? If it goes to 3-0, man.
Well, it's over. If it goes to 3-0, it is over.
You're losing time zones, plural, tomorrow night.
So this is it. Yankees have to win tonight. Let's go Dodgers. So I would also say, Tom, back to the first hour, which was me saying basically I think I don't see a path, and I am trying my damnedest to find one because I like Mike, but this is an untenable situation, and I am more concerned now than I've ever been that there is no path back for him. And I'm thinking about it because of the fickle nature of a student athlete in today's game with opportunity and access. And you can bet right now that the biggest thing that is happening behind closed doors at Florida State isn't the preparation involved to try to find a way to muster a win against North Carolina and Mac Brown on Saturday, but rather how do we retain the good young players we have on this roster? Because it is an all-out assault by every one of your rivals and anybody in the region that seeks to win championships and sees real talent, whether it's a freshman defensive back, a freshman quarterback, a freshman wide receiver. They are coming after those kids every second of every hour of every day. And there's nothing to combat it with is the problem. Like if you could find a way to muster a few wins, you could combat it a little bit. Wins and losses, as I say, happen for a reason. They elicit an emotion, a feeling, a way of thinking. You walk around this earth with a different mindset after a win than you do a loss. repeated losses and constant commentary. Listen, people get mad when we talk about it. It's our job to chronicle this ass fest of a football program. But nationally, did you hear the way that was called? I mean, every other series, this is historic. Can you believe how? I mean, the play-by-play man was close to just saying, I can't believe how damn sorry this FSU team is. He might as well have just said it. They came armed with receipts. They had the numbers for days. You got to go back to when they were wearing leather helmets to find a campaign like this.
I'm still recovering from Assfest, for sure.
Assfest could be a great place. It could be a wonderful thing. When I use it as a descriptor with this football team, it's not. It's Roseanne's ass.
Or the way.
Stop. Yes, that's the unfortunate ass fest that we stumbled into. It's not what you were hoping for. I thought this was ass fest. I thought we were going to ass fest. It was going to be awesome. No, it is ass fest. Take a look around. No. Why would you invite me to this? I don't like this.
Welcome to Assfest. May I interest you in a whiff?
Oh. I know you care. We confirmed it, guys. 8-2. 8-2 over the weekend. Woo!
Shaking to the paper messes with the vertigo. I'm not
sorry,
looking at
don't
that
look
again.
at that again.
Woo.
Turn your eyes. I'm doing it again. Turn your eyes.
I don't like it. I played NCAA over the weekend because you've been talking about it so much.
It's great.
But when the stadium rumbled, I had to check myself. I was like, ooh, okay, stadium pulse is no good.
Something in this version of the game that didn't exist all those years ago when we played their quick-to-fire guy in NCAA. If you're on Dynasty mode and you get off to a rocky start with whatever godforsaken program you took over, year 2, if we don't see real progress being made, they will fire you in that game with the quickness. Coach Cameron had Army steadily they fired me. Year two.
Dishonorably discharged.
They did what we did to Willie. They hadn't seen enough. Not enough, Jeff. 2 wins that first year. I know you took over an 0-12 program. Got us to 5 wins in year 2. One would see that's definite. You're fired. They fired me. What is this nonsense?
Well, Lombardi's grandson was available. We had to go. We had to make a move.
I'm sure you'll do big things at your next destination.
Coast Guard.
But that is what's happening now behind the scenes. It's this assault on our players. And of course, there's no combating the negative messaging because you don't have anything to fall back on. You're not doing anything well. The cavalry's not coming around the corner. You don't have some elite class coming in. You don't have, like Florida does. Let's say Florida goes on this losing streak that everybody thinks they're about to go on because this is the tough part of their schedule beginning this weekend against Georgia. You know, they will fall back on Lagway. They'll say, well, we got a kid who's really good.
That they'll have to retain.
Yeah, but he's already come out and talked about how much he loves Napier. But Florida, by the way, it should be noted, and I hate bringing this up. Florida was an overtime loss, or should I say a 2-point conversion away from having won 4 straight now. Their one loss is overtime on the road to Tennessee, 23-17 in overtime. They pounded Kentucky. They pounded UCF. They pounded Mississippi State. Those aren't great wins, but, I mean, again, they've done what they should do. Now, from here, they got Georgia, followed by at Texas, followed by LSU, followed by Ole Miss, and that makes me smile. But honestly, if that guy wins one more, probably won't get it done. He probably needs to win 2 of those games. He's got an easy win over Florida State late in the year. That gets him to 5. He's got to find a way. They got to beat Ole Miss in Gainesville.
They could do that.
Penultimate game of the year. They're hosting it. They could do that.
Lane loses that game enough.
Yeah.
Much as we pine over him.
Well, the point is they don't want to have to fire him. I know the money's been raised and all of that, but they'll come back. Well, listen, this is a damning thing for Mike. That dude was still recruiting pretty well despite all of the losses. Mario was sub 500 coming into this season at Miami and recruiting pretty damn well.
Well, that's the thing is he knew exactly the moment, and he did it in his post-game press conference where he said, I think you could take a look at where we are in the state relative to
they swept the state. They blew Florida out 41-17.
And then Elko took the opportunity after their big win this weekend, and he said something similar about you don't have a politician at the helm. This is a program that's real. It's for work. And we are in a position where all we can do as a program, as a staff, is watch that. As much as this is the talent acquisition business, where a coach has more say in acquiring talent than in the pros, unless they're given GM responsibilities on top of being a head coach. All we can do is watch those press conferences. I think that's where I was disappointed that there weren't at least some changes to signal that more are coming this past weekend. The calendar applies that pressure. If this was the old calendar, let it ride. Signing day in February, you don't need to do a thing. The new calendar, you just feel like you're under the gun. This is why when we've replaced head coaches, we feel like you don't have a chance. They're incoming and signing day is happening.
He doesn't have time, yeah.
Right. Don't have time. That's what it feels like.
By the way, Texas A&M, if you think about it, if they hadn't lost to Notre Dame, first of all, they're in first place at the SEC. Elko was a great hire, and he is doing great things. They've got it figured out. By the way, he gets credit for what happened at halftime of their game, where he basically said that the way LSU was playing them required them to go to a more mobile quarterback. The way they're playing us currently, he was asked about it, the way they're playing us currently is going to require us to take a look at putting a mobile quarterback in. And he did. And on the next 5 drives, they scored 4 times. Touchdowns. That's good coaching. He's done a great job there. They're in first place of the SEC. They've got South Carolina next. They should clobber them. Then it's New Mexico. They'll clobber them. Then it's Auburn. They'll clobber them. And at the end of the year, you are in for a war. That game is going to be incredible. You get Texas A&M versus Texas November 30th.
On a rivalry weekend where a lot of these games that typically have a lot of juice don't, this one emerges. Michigan, Ohio State typically has juice for the playoff, or the Big Ten championship game, because they were in divisions forever and a day. So even if you didn't believe in one of those teams, it still had major implications. Not so this year, but Texas A&M most certainly has huge implications.
Well, and it gets really interesting now because we're talking about some powers that can't afford another loss. So Alabama with a loss is out. They could be anyhow. They've got 2 currently, but a third for sure, they're done. I'll tell you why, because it is beginning to look more and more like Notre Dame is going to punch their ticket to the playoff. That one loss will not hurt them, as devastating as it seemed at the time. They're not helped out a lot by their schedule because Florida State.
They do get Army.
They do get Army, who will be ranked.
Mm-hmm.
And so that helped them, just like Navy being ranked helped them.
2 service academies.
Yes, it helps. But they blew Navy out. That game wasn't competitive. We'll see what they do with Army, but they don't have to worry about us. We're not going to put up a fight. That hurts them to some extent, but they should cruise through the rest of their. I guess at the end of the year against Southern Cal, if Southern Cal has a pulse, that could turn into something interesting. But Notre Dame will get into the playoff with 1 loss. Would they get in with 2? Here's your problem. They wouldn't over, say, 2 Big 12 teams, because you have some undefeated teams in the Big 12, and you have right now projected, Tom, 2 ACC teams to get in. So if you have 2 ACC teams that get in, and 2 Big 12 teams get in, and Notre Dame, do you have 2 Big 10 teams that get in? How many teams from the SEC are getting into the playoff?
Do you have 2 ACC teams that get in?
Clemson and Miami, if they're both Clemson will have 1 loss to Georgia, and then let's say they go undefeated the rest of the way.
Clemson would be playing for their playoff lives in that game, because if they go to 11-2, 11-2,
well,
I don't know.
Yeah, probably not, right? But if they go 11-1 or 12-1, they're in for sure,
because they've clinched the ACC at that point. Yeah, and then the question becomes: is Miami left out? Which probably not.
No, Miami's going to get in, probably. Buddy, that That's interesting for the SEC to think about it. I mean, I don't care. I'm going to laugh if they get 2 teams in instead of the 4 they thought for sure they were going to get in. Let's see if Georgia loses. If Texas and Georgia somehow lose another game and they play Texas A&M in the SEC championship game. What happens to the loser? Let's say you lose that game and you have 3 effing losses. You're not getting in.
I don't know. Losses don't matter. We keep forgetting this. They don't matter.
Indiana's probably getting in. This is insane.
Maybe.
11-1 Indiana is going to get in over a 3-loss SEC team.
Which one?
They're going to get in over a 3-loss SEC
play
team.
in a real conference, you know?
Go see my friend Shannon Young, loansforknowles.com to learn more. He's with Fairway Independent Mortgage Companies, the best in the business. He is a tireless worker, finding ways of you perhaps getting into the house of your dreams, finding ways for you to improve your credit and get rid of bad debt. This is a guy that won't rest until he's sure that you are taken care of. Go to loansforknowles.com. I vouch for Shannon because he's really, really good at what he does. And he, like you, is a diehard Knoll and still rolling out there to every one of these games. Takes it on the road to support him, comes back here to support him, was down in, every week you see the pictures. I'm like, buddy, you are loyal.
Supporting the collective. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's impressive, very impressive, and that's why it gives me great pleasure to vouch for him. Loansforknowles.com. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Know your body and transform your life with DexaFit Tallahassee, your go-to for science-backed health insights. Their DEXA scan gives you the most accurate body composition available, measuring bone density, muscle mass, and both subcutaneous and visceral fat. Get the data you need to track progress and make real changes. Your VO2 max is the best indicator of health and longevity, but it offers more than just a number. It shows respiratory function, calories burned at different intensities, and whether your body burns fat or carbs, helping you train smarter. DexaFit's RMR test reveals how many calories you burn at rest and the type of fuel your body uses, so you can dial in your diet for weight loss, muscle gain, or maintenance. And their red light therapy soothes sore muscles, reduces inflammation, and rejuvenates your skin. Right now, get a DEXA scan and red light therapy for just $99. That's a $184 value. Call 850-510-7728 or visit DexaFit Tallahassee's website to book. Know your body and transform your life this fall with DexaFit.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
Hey, Knoll fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Homeowners, this is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, and I want to talk to you today about consolidating your debt. Are you struggling with your monthly expenses? Consumer spending and overall debt are reaching all-time highs, while homeowners are sitting on trillions of dollars in untapped equity in their homes. Don't be afraid to walk away from that 2% mortgage while you're paying double-digit interest rates on credit cards and lines of credit and drowning in debt. Let's talk about how we can consolidate your debt, lower your overall monthly payments, and potentially save you thousands of dollars in the process. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. Again, 954-369-6171. This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, and I'm at 954-369-6171.
Equal housing, NMLS 373031.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Treywick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Treywick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Treywick. Professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontreywick.com.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Always a pleasure on Mondays to bring in my cohort. Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com, joins us now on the Jeff Cameron Show. Hello, Ira. How are you, brother?
I'm great, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good, man. I was happy for you when I saw the Flanagan's post. I knew you were a happy man. And did it live up to the usual expectations that you have going down, both imagined from your youth and also realized as an adult?
Yeah, man, we had a good time. Asla and I were the representatives for Warchant down there. We had a good time, some good food, and everything other than 3 or 4 hours on Saturday were pretty good. So yeah, it was a good trip.
Probably used to it, like the rest of us and all of these fans. After all, in some ways, it didn't turn out to be nearly as ugly as we thought it might. Florida State's defense played pretty hard. There's always a caveat when we bring up this defense, though, and it's their inability to communicate and their inability to get off the field on third downs, and that really kind of discounted some of the hard work they had put in to get in those situations. I know you got a piece about it on Warchant.com. Ira, what do you look forward to when you cover these games currently? I know what I say on the air. I am kind of curious your angles, what you're going to be looking for in these remaining games.
I think the biggest thing to me, for most of the first, I guess, 2/3 of the season was, what changes can you make? What can you do to salvage it? And, the problem is they've changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think Mike Norvell's changed some things, that they're trying to do offensively. I think, obviously you've changed quarterbacks. You've tried 3 different quarterbacks now. You've tried a million different offensive line combinations. You had a new guy, Jacob Rizzi, starting on the offensive line this week. You went back to Robert Scott at right tackle. You've gone with, this youth movement at receiver and in tight end, and the offense still stinks. So it's just such a weird situation because, it's like you're just moving around, chairs on the Titanic. And so at this point now, to me, it's just a countdown to the end of the season. Obviously, you'd love to beat North Carolina because then you got a chance to win 3 or 4 games. Obviously, you'd love to beat Florida because it's Florida. But in terms of from a big picture standpoint, to me, it's like every day is just like counting down the days till Christmas. It's just counting down the days till the season's over to see what's going to happen. And I don't know exactly what Mike Norvell is going to do, but if whatever he does is going to kind of give us an idea of where we go as we talk about this team.
Should he do something before seasons end with the compressed recruiting schedule the way that it is in modern college football now?
I don't know, man. I mean, maybe, but not really. I mean, it's not. I don't know who you're bringing in that's going to be able to change anything before the end of the season. Sometimes when you make a change on your staff, it's this guy's going to bring in these players. Like that. Sometimes these guys already know. Like they already have a job. Say they're at another school and they've got some players that might be looking to leave. And if you leave, hey, I think I can bring these players with me. But the reality is, I just don't know how any of that's going to happen before signing day. So to me, this high school signing season is going to be what it is. It's not going to be very good. And I know everybody wants to focus on high schools now because they think the portal is ruined. But, for Florida State to have a chance to be good next year, they're going to have to do some damage in the portal. And to me, it's about getting assistant coaches, not necessarily because they can bring players, but that would certainly help. If you could bring in some position coaches or coordinators who have a chance to bring in players that they've coached before at other schools, I think that would help you out a lot.
Do you think that he'll make sweeping changes, or do you think the number is, say, fewer than 5?
Well, 5 is pretty sweeping.
Yep.
But yeah, listen, man, I think I liked the way Mike Norvell answered those questions today. He did not seem defensive to me. We asked him about play calling in the future. He said he's wide open to changing that if that helps the team. We asked him about maybe making changes. He said, he's going to evaluate it, and he will. And when he was asked about, I think Corey asked him about balancing trying to win games this season versus focusing on the future. And he said, look, I've been focusing on the future all year. He's already been giving thought to what he wants to do in terms of changes he wants to make. So all that to say is that makes me think he's open to really evaluating the staff. And if he has any prayer of turning this around, he has been making those evaluations, and he's ready to make sweeping changes. Because I think not just on the coaching staff, but I think across his program, he's got to make some changes, substantial changes. If you were to get through the season and go through a week or two and he's only made 1 or 2 position coaching changes, then I don't think he's going to have a long future at Florida State. So, we'll see how that plays out. But I would like to think he's going to make substantial changes, but it's hard to predict because sometimes these coaches just don't see it the same way we do.
Has anybody from the administration or, shall I say, power brokers at the university, they could be huge boosters, they could be administrators, have you heard from more of them as this season has begun to, again, fall into a state of disrepair? Have you been hearing more about the university's position, all this? I guess I would ask you this because obviously the tension amongst the fan base is only growing more every day. And it's easy for fans, certainly all of them do, to say this coach should be fired, that coach should be fired, the head coach needs to be fired. But do you have any indicators that the unthinkable could happen, that Mike wouldn't survive this if they go 2-10?
This season, I mean, good luck to them if they want to do that, just from a financial standpoint. I mean, you're taking on $500 million in debt with these 2 buildings you're building. You're also going to pick up another $65 million on Mike Norvell, plus another $10 million or whatever for assistant coaches. I mean, have at it. I don't think that that's a smart financial play, because then you're going to now you got to go hire new coaches and you got to figure out NIL going forward. So to me, I don't think that's the answer. Would I say there's no chance of that happening? No, I don't know. I was surprised they fired Willie Taggart in less than 2 years. But again, I think to me, it's figuring out how to help him. Now, are people at the booster level, at the high donor level, furious? For sure. And more furious probably in some cases than regular fans are, because not only is it their school, not only is it their pride, but they've written big checks and, they want to see a return on that investment. So, yeah, man, there's a lot of hostility. And I think Michael Alford, the AD, and Rick McCullough, the president, they're hearing about it constantly. But, that doesn't mean, throwing $80 million at the problem just to make people leave is necessarily the smartest answer. But, I guess anything's possible.
Is it true that after you left the TLC Double C from the other night's exhibition win for Florida State that you thought this was a Final Four team?
Of course. Actually, Corey Clark drew that one because I was going to Miami for football. So Corey drew that one. I might be, I don't know. We'll see if I go to the one on Thursday on Halloween. But no, I don't think anybody's projecting the Final Four for that basketball team. And, listen, man, it's going to be I think this is going to be a tough 2024-2025 year for Florida State athletics, other than a few of the probably Olympic sports.
Baseball will be great. Ira, don't you understand the mission here? The answer was yes. They're looking more like a Final Four team than not. Oh, I appreciate it, brother. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you, man.
Take care. Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com. I did not attend the exhibition game the other night. I did document what happened on this here show on that Friday, but I thought with his wisdom and the sage, the eyes that he's watched many a basketball contest with, he might say, Jeff, I know you're going for hyperbole there, but you're not far off. But alas, that's not the case. That is not the case. The frustration. I do want to tell you about an event we're going to have coming up here soon that I'm looking forward to attending on the 7th of November. It's going to be at the Barrel Proof Lounge, benefiting the second harvest of the Big Bend. And I want to thank my friends and advertisers, collaborators. I've gotten to know the folks at Tried and True Consulting quite a bit. These are good people, good, hardworking Noles who not only want to do successful business things, as businesses are wont to do, that is to say, make money and help you save money, but they're also big on helping in the community. And it's a canned food drive that's going to take place on November the 7th from 4 to 7 p.m. I will be there, and I look forward to being there. And our friends at Grassroots Coffee have joined in, and we've got the vegan vodka, social vegan vodka there as well.
Vodka.
That should be good. And basically, if you either donate money or canned goods for the second harvest of the Big Bend, obviously the way things have gone with these storms, they could use the help. You get to taste some of the cocktails, if you will. Good times, some music, and we'll get together. A little happy hour action on November the 7th at the Barrel Proof Lounge. Thanks to my friends at Tried and True Consulting. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 80. Northeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight. Lows dip down to about 64. Mainly clear skies tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 83. Mainly sunny skies and dry Wednesday and Thursday with highs in the mid-80s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 74.
Dream it, plan it, do it. Brian Barnard's Flooring America offers a straightforward way to shop with our streamlined shopping. Finding the right flooring is simple. Visit our newly remodeled showroom featuring the Room to Explore shopping experience, where our knowledgeable staff will walk you through the steps. Our family has been serving the area since 1976 with a local staff of more than 35 people trained in flooring sales and design. We know floors and we know styles. Let us help make your home timeless. Brian Barnard's Flooring America, where friends send friends.
With Progressive, you get more than savings. You get access to us through our mobile app, online chat, or by phone.
Oh, I see what you're doing here, Jamie. Giving me all these ways to stay in touch so I have no excuse not to. Well, you're in luck, because this guy's in the market for a new BFF.
Actually, all our customers can contact us this way.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just kidding.
But I am always up for Taco Pizza! Jigsaw!
Get help from Progressive through the website, app, chat, or phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Every day, Cintas service reps help businesses get ready for the workday. They provide freshly laundered workwear delivered every week. Mats, mops, restroom and cleaning supplies. First aid and safety products to help your employees stay safe. They even test and inspect fire extinguishers and emergency lights. Cintas helps keep your business running smoothly. See what Cintas can do for you. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean,
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You know what I just had during the break, Tom? I had a baby Ruth. I have not had a Baby Ruth in years and years and years, but it is that time of year where candy seems to be in every office, and that includes this one. And I lack the willpower and strength to just walk past the bowl of candy and not reach in and grab something for myself. And I saw the Baby Ruth in and amongst candies I do like. So the Babe Ruth was hidden underneath the best candy of them all, which is a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, which is always option number one. I said, no, Reese's, I've had you many times. I'm not going to have a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup today. I was frankly looking for more Almond Joys. I like Almond Joys and Mounds. Looked for one, didn't see it. Then I thought, well, maybe there's a Kit Kat binge candy for me. No Kit Kat. There was a Baby Ruth. And I thought, I can't remember the last time I had a Baby Ruth. So I took it, ripped it open, ate the Baby Ruth, and I'll never have another one. It's a reminder of why I didn't go out of my way to grab Baby Ruths in the first place. They suck. They're not any good at all.
What's in them?
I don't even know. There's no real distinguishing feature to a Baby Ruth other than it's musty.
Musty?
It's musty.
Oh, dear.
It's a musty candy. It's not going to get it done. There's not like an overwhelming, hey, there's a little caramel there. No. Just it's got no distinguishing tastes to it. It's just not good.
Yeah, this is one thing that I didn't get a whole lot into as a kid. You know, I had the sweets like the Smarties and the Sweet Tarts. If I went into the chocolate family, it was a Nestle Crunch or was it Crackle Bars?
Yeah.
Those are the best kind of that variety.
Mm-hmm. You don't like the pure chocolate that is like Hershey's?
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that I didn't delve into the Snickers versus the Baby
chocolate.
Ruth
Yeah.
versus the, never got into
yeah.
Paydays, never got into any of that stuff.
Love a good Twix.
Twix?
Twix is good. If you get an opportunity, when you go look in the bowl, if there's a Twix, you should grab it.
Never had one.
Oh, you'd like Twix.
Would I?
I think you would. There's nothing really going to hurt you with a Twix. You got the caramel, you got the chocolate, you got the little crunchy taste of the cookie. It's good.
I was actually more into chocolates for Christmas because you'd have the Hershey's Kisses and the because everybody always
delicious.
Because they're good ornaments, they're good decorations for the house, and the green and red M&Ms. Like that was my season to get into the chocolate, but for Halloween, it was more about the sweets.
No Kev wants us to bring back the Tiger Sharks. Yes, we're all searching right now. C Black wants to know if we've heard from Alford. I don't think anybody has. Thomas says, give me the Waffle House coordinator over Atkins. C Black also noted, why keep Norvell and pay more money for new assistant coaches if he's a dead man walking for 2025? He can't recruit and transfer portal advantage is gone. Yeah, you're describing, C Black, a really, really difficult and, as I often say, untenable situation. But I think we're in dire straits. I think we are in serious trouble, and I'm not masking that. I'm not deflecting that fact. I'm not trying to talk around it. I think we are in serious trouble for the time being. I think for the time being, this is going to be, this might be your best option if you're watching on Warchant TV. This would be known as Dos Artes. This is liquor.
2 arts.
And it is a very, very cool bottle. And our buddy Chris in San Diego sent this to me, and I just opened it during the break. I think he knew or knows that I needed this.
That is a gorgeous bottle.
Isn't it? He has sent Dos Artes every year, and the new bottles this is the limited edition, and I'm going to drink it. Not currently, but at some point. I think he knows we all could use some Dos Artes.
You set that down, it creates thunder.
Oh, it's got a little something to it.
People can hear that.
Yeah, there's the Dos. There's the Dos Artes. There it is. It's glorious. Anyhow,
well, the 10,000-foot view of this situation, it's not a pretty view. We know that.
No.
It's like wildfires, and you don't have enough helicopters with extinguishing
place is going to burn
chemicals.
down, yes.
What's the most important thing to spend the money on? I think that's the question. Is you have a certain amount of money because we've got money going over here, over there, everywhere. What do you want to spend the money on? And for me, I know a lot of the fan base might say, well, get new coaches in here. If you believe that the coaches are contributing to a culture that is gone and they won't believe these same guys again, then sure. But it's about player acquisition at this point. I mean, our number one gripe has been that we hinged this season on assessment of the current offensive line and then assessment of the wave of transfers we brought in. So we no good on the acquisition part this year. And the high school stuff has not been up to what we think it should be with a 23-3 record in the span of 2 years. Would money help? Would it be better that you just dump a ton of money into the player problem? Or do you spend the money on the coaches and then you figure out what you want to get out of next year? Because if you want to get enough out of next year to send a message, you probably go heavy portal again and not heavy high school for money. So where are you spending your money?
I don't think you can continue this vicious cycle of having to live and die by portal acquisition, because I think the portal has changed.
Then 2025 is dead.
Yeah, and I think that maybe you have to wear a bad 2025. It doesn't need to look like this, but it might be a 6-6 type season as you play the young kids, go all in with them, and you pay for high school kids. Elite level high school kids. The problem is, Tom, I don't know if you can get them even if you're the highest bidder. Your best players at that level, your game-changing players that would have you turned around within 2 years of arrival, are the kinds of kids that have offers from Georgia and offers from an already now established Miami program and the kind of offers that you get from an Alabama and Ohio State and others.
So you're talking about a chicken or the egg problem, because the coaches you have on staff wouldn't inspire them to say yes.
Correct.
With an offer, because you have to overpay. First of all, let's just not get it twisted. You could have a coach that's the most convincing and bonded to a kid on that cycle in the 2025 cycle. You still have to outpay Ohio State and Alabama to get their attention, because they're coming here
be in the ballpark. You don't have to outpay them. I mean, again, I've pointed this out. There are kids that have gone places for less money because they had established relationships with coaches. Not that our coaches bothered to establish those relationships with kids, but that they had elsewhere.
Fair, but in most of those cases, you would concede the place they went most of the time had expectations of winning and success at a high level.
Yes.
And so we don't have that. So that's where I'm saying you'd have to overpay. Every time you lose, it gets more expensive on all fronts. Every time you lose,
this is why I'm describing this as something that might in fact be unfixable with Mike. It might be. I hope I'm wrong, and they can't afford or they won't pull the trigger on Mike at the end of this year. They'll wait another year or two. Although, again, it's 64, 65 million if you do it now. It's 40 whatever if you do it in a couple of years or one more year from now. So you know, when would it be a moment that you could rip the Band-Aid off and feel good? Like if you were in the Big Ten, you could do it because you'd have an extra 30 million annually to help pay this off within a couple of years.
Well, you could also pass it on to the students and have a school spirit tax of $200 a student.
But you're stuck in the ACC and you don't have the extra 30 or so million dollars coming your way annually. And so you don't really have a way out of this right now. The easiest way to do it is to have him replace numerous coaches, find life through new coaches, both in recruiting and in teaching and coaching.
Right.
Mike himself has to reboot, though, too. He has to understand this is his folly, and he is stained for life right now. I mean, you know, that guy could turn around and win 10 games in a couple of years, and I guarantee you, Tom, as we sit here today, that at the end of that 10-win campaign, people will be like, man, he got it turned around. Yeah, he also engineered one of the worst seasons ever produced in the modern era of college football. After an undefeated season, that guy somehow did that thing.
Right. You'll never feel safe. Like year over year. You'll get into the offseason and say, are we sure? Are we sure? Now, that will happen with every coach moving forward because we've been burned here. But it would really happen if he's retained. I'm saying that if you've got a decision at the margin, and let's say you think a coach is doing a passable job on that staff, some will go, but like there's a couple that you might be like, I'm stuck in between. is it worth it to pay a buyout plus bring in a new coach versus taking whatever money that you would be spending, that extra money, and finding a way to divert it to something else that could help you in the way of, on-field talent and production? Like, that's the big picture conversation that I'm hoping that they're having, which is we have X amount of dollars.
I'm going to say,
where are we going to spend it in order to make next year the best it possibly can be? Because I think the thing that can save you, if anything, is actually trying to go for broke next year. You're in a spiral. You're in a spiral. But the only way you can get high school kids to say yes is if they see something good on the field, and soon, if you're Mike. And I feel like that means that you might have to go short term again. You're forced. Your hand is forced.
Good luck asking those people for money, man. I don't know where you're going to get it, but I would tell you this. I'll go back to my original plan, which was, okay, if we go that route, Tom, I'm going to spend large sums of money on a grand total of 6 players. The rest is going to be on my new coaches and some kids on the periphery. And those 6 players that I'm spending huge amounts of money on are 5 offensive linemen and a quarterback.
Right. Yeah.
That's where all of my money's going. I'm getting the 5 best sons of bitches out there on the offensive line and whoever the best quarterback is. Now, maybe I got my quarterback, but at the very least, 5 offensive linemen.
And it's one path you can choose. I mean, but they have to, these are things that you have to debate back in the back rooms.
They're going to be like, good God. The Noles have brought in, the hog mollies from Washington from back in the 80s. Look at this group averaging 370 fleet of foot across the board. It only cost them a cool $40 million. Final hour forthcoming.
Hot tubs in the city. You might even call it Tallahassee's Hot Tub Hub. 12,000 square feet of hot tubs with over 50 of them on site. Over 20,000 gallons of tub capacity to choose from. That's 4,620,000 cubic inches of hot tubs. But I digress. So why should you own a hot tub from Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. Number 1, health benefits, of course. The healing powers of soaking in a hot bubbling pool of water go back centuries. Google it. Number 2, Pinch A Penny has hot tubs with technology called Freshwater IQ. It gives you real-time chemical readings and tells you exactly what to add to keep the water at peak perfection. With automated analysis to help you control the chlorine and pH. It's hot tubs for dummies. Sign me up. Number 3, they have the best prices, of course. Plus you get a free accessory and no interest financing. Easy peasy. But if you don't want to take my word for it, check them out yourself. Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas. Locally owned, locally operated, and the easiest way to find relaxation at home.
Hi, this is J.L. Dunbar. I want to tell you why I'm supporting Robert Churchill for Leon County Judge, and I hope you will too. For more than 20 years, I've known Robert Churchill to be a good neighbor, a loving father and husband, a business owner, and a respected attorney. In fact, everything I've seen tells me he'll make a great Leon County Judge. Vote Robert Churchill for Leon County Judge.
Paid for and approved by Robert Churchill for Leon County Judge, Seat 4.
Enterprises, roofing and construction services. Construction.com. We conquer all creeks. We fix those dark leaks. Call 850-766-134. Keys Park Enterprises, roofing and construction services. Keys Park.
Construction.com. CCC 1331204.
Imagine for a moment that you are completely weightless in zero gravity. All of the weight and worry of life is melted away, and you fall into a state of profound relaxation. This is what you'll find at Tallulah CBD Mushrooms THC in Railroad Square when you try out their state-of-the-art floating pods. While you're there, shop for the best quality CBD, mushrooms, THC, and kava products available. Shop Tallulah today with 6 locations in Tallahassee and the Kava Bar Lounge in Bannerman Crossing. Online at TallulahSmokes.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
WVFT Greater Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next.
Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 brought to you by Fulmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee.
Game 3 of the World Series tonight, Dodgers and Yankees, this time in New York. Dodgers up 2-0 after winning games 1 and 2 over the weekend in Los Angeles. The Yankees will send Clark Schmidt to the mound, while the Dodgers will counter with Walker Buehler. Game 4 in New York on Tuesday. NFL, the Buccaneers dropping to 4-4 on the year. They lose at home to Atlanta 31-26. Baker Mayfield, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in the loss. They fall a game back of Atlanta in the division. Jacksonville losing to Green Bay on the last-second field goal, 30-27. They dropped to 2-6. Trevor Lawrence had 308 yards passing, 2 touchdowns with an interception. And Tyler Reddick won the NASCAR race at Miami on Sunday, and that win earns him a berth in the Final Four for the championship. This sports update brought to you by Flomar's Pawn, Guns, and Gold, more than you might expect. I'm Tony Desiri, Real Talk 93.3.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found the man pouring a bottle of Gain scent beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain scent beads. Try Gain scent beads. Way fresher than detergent alone.
Foreman, you look so twisted. What did you do now?
Well, Hank the alligator needed his teeth brushed, and when I bent over to give him a scrub, my back popped like an afternoon lightning storm in Florida. And now I can't even stand up.
You need to go to FinChiro.com and schedule your new patient appointment right away at FinChiro.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com.
I'm really busy. I don't want to leave Hank in the orange grove unattended for too long.
Fin Chiropractic will get you in right away, and they get to the cause of your problems. So go to FinChiro.com and make your new patient appointment. There is even an online discount.
Discount? That's a good thing, because my purse is a little light since I bought Hank a new gold chain.
You have to take care of yourself if you want to be able to take care of your alligator, Hank. Make your appointment now. Go to FinChiro.com.
Well, hold my pina colada. I'm going to FinChiro.com.
This is Hugh Tomlinson, president of the Tallahassee Quarterback Club. I invite you to join our historic club supporting local football since 1949. Don't miss our exciting events featuring legendary and popular football personalities. Get updates from FSU coaches, win great door prizes, and stay on top of all local football. Attend our next event featuring sports analyst and former UGA star David Pollock on October 29th. Get your tickets or join our club at TallahasseeQBClub.com. That's TallahasseeQBClub.com. Get in the game. Get in the club.
Honey, I'm home.
We're in here, honey.
So why are all my friends here?
Have a seat, Dave. We need to talk about your problem.
Problem? I don't have a problem.
Dave, you do have a problem. A problem with your grill. Here's some pamphlets from Hearth and Patio. They are waiting for your call to help you upgrade your grill.
If you or someone you know needs a grilling intervention, call Hearth and Patio today at 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282 or hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
Never forget
that moment.
As long
as I live.
My first call-up ever as a member of the National Guard.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires. They were getting dangerously close to homes.
Helicopters were going up to drop water on the fires. Guys in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews.
At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Warchant TV. That is on the YouTube channel. I appreciate you doing that as well. Thanks for being here. Yeah, we narrowly escaped a fourth hour, Tom. But alas, we did not narrowly escape a fourth hour. That was a sure thing. I could have promised 5-hour shows, 6-hour shows. Would have never been nervous.
I really felt like if it got to 17-14, and this is where you got the fourth down wheel route, and they come back and they show that Kentron's wide open.
Yeah,
but
he would have dropped it.
Well, Lawrence got held, twice over, because the moment that Luke sees the ball come out and that there are no Miami defenders on that side of the field, nobody's going to win a foot race. No linebacker is going to win a foot race with Lawrence. He gets tugged.
Yeah.
Refs weren't the reason we lost the game. I'm not even trying to play that card. I just thought if you get to 17-14, Mario might tighten up a little bit, and you never know. They go down the field. That in the red zone again. It's 20-14. We've got the ball. I allowed for that moment to happen. But then, of course, the fourth down was not converted, and, that was that.
As you might guess, it's been a tough weekend for Florida State, and we, had to come in here and talk about a non-competitive game. In addition, they lost C.J. Wiley, the wide receiver recruit, who was really kind of the last big name that was still holding on. He is top 25 ranked wide receiver in the country, number 3 prospect in the Knowles incoming class. Prior to that, decommitment at 6'5", 200 pounds. That's a man out there at wide receiver, and Florida State loses him. And that is the 5th ESPN 300, depending on where you want to look, whether it's on 3 or 247, where it doesn't matter. Go look wherever you look. Florida State has seen 5 such top players already say, yeah, I'm good. 1-7 ain't it, not coming. And so that's not surprising. They'll probably lose some more. I began the show by saying that ho-hum, another loss. This particular one should mean more. I should be enraged because it's to Miami, but it's all too predictable at this point. And instead, we had a measured conversation about whether or not there's a way out of this hell, whether or not Mike can survive this. I don't mean this year because it's likely that he'll be back, but I don't know if he can ever find his way back into the good graces of Florida State fans and really within the job itself. I don't know that he'll be able to rebound from what is as stunning a fall from grace as we've ever seen for a coach here that doesn't involve something off the field. This is an on-the-field failure in the most magnificent fashion, and not one that anybody saw coming. You could have doubted this team was going to be a 8-win team. You could have even said, even the most extreme amongst you might have said, I don't know, man, that's a lot to lose. Maybe they're 6-6, 7-5. Perhaps some of you really believe that. That's fine. Nobody would have seen 1-7. And now amidst 1-7, you're left to ask the depressing questions that come with that kind of failure. And that is, can you recover? What does it take financially? What does it take from a reputational standpoint? What does it take for Mike himself to recover from this, if it is even possible? And most of us certainly would be of the mindset that it will be sweeping changes that can help him resurrect his image and his career. And I say image, I'm just talking about purely coaching. I'm not talking about the man or character or anything like that. This is not personal. It is a 1-7 season. He has failed miserably. We are having a proper discussion based on those parameters. And I don't know. It's the first time that I've said here that I'm just not getting a good sense that he can get back from this. I don't feel like he can. I hope to be wrong. And I'm beginning to wonder now what the path is and how do you discuss it? How do you get into that? How do you talk about what there is left to do, even in this, I guess, bitter remaining moments of the season? Like, where do you go with this? Where does this discussion take you? Probably to the OC, probably to the DC, probably to the assistants, probably to people who may be available who can really recruit. And then, certainly a lot of talk about whatever money you do have throwing at offensive linemen. Perhaps you choose a quarterback. I will tell you this. I find it fascinating because I think you could lose both quarterbacks. And I know that goes from bad to worse and from a talking point standpoint. But I think you have to try to find a way to salvage whichever one you think has the biggest upside. And you're balancing that with the pieces around him not being there. So whoever you decide, you know what, I'm going to go forward with, let's say you think Luke has the brighter upside. I think seems to be a larger contingent of people that believe Luke is the more talented of the two quarterbacks. Got the big arm, bigger kid. Maybe he has the greater upside. Say you believe that. Do you just decide he's your guy? I'm going to ride with you now. It's your job. Understanding that probably means Brock is gone.
I thought that when they gave Luke the fourth possession of the game,
that's what he was doing,
which was in the third quarter,
mm-hmm.
Is yes, because the plan, as communicated by the TV broadcast and confirmed by Mike later in the press conference, was that Luke was going to get drive 3. No matter what happened in that game, Luke was getting drive 3, but then it was going to be given back to Brock for drive 4. The moment that doesn't happen, I feel like you've shifted the tide. Now, the Brock at the end of the game thing is confusing. I think you're protecting Luke at that point. I think
it's kind of weird.
I think these are two signals that send the same message to me, which is
that he likes Brock more. I mean, he likes Luke more.
He likes Luke more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the follow-up question I'd have on this particular topic is, where would these quarterbacks go? Where would Brock go? I mean, like when Tate left, he went to Southern Miss. So is Brock just looking to go to...
No, I think Brock is more talented than Tate. I think we would both agree on that. And I think Brock would have options to go to somewhere better than
Wake?
Southern Miss.
You know what I mean? Like what level of program is he going to? Because when you're evaluating this as the staff, I'm trying to play the role of personnel at Florida State. So we're going to have to bid against whom to keep you here? You're going to go to Indiana for Sigs? You're going to go to where are you going?
Well, I mean, if he did, he'd be in a good situation.
I'm just what level? But what level of program are we talking about? Because money is going to speak here for retention. But I mean, at some point, if a kid wants to walk, depending upon who they are, you say, go ahead. That's fine. Now, Luke, there was a late courting from Georgia in before signing day last year. Georgia made a call. Luke even brought that up on social media towards the end. He references it, I think, indirectly. But Georgia was interested in Luke Kromenhoek's services, and they wanted an 11th hour swing of momentum that they didn't get. So maybe those programs might turn to a young quarterback and say, come on in, we'll give you a shot. But are they going to give Luke a windfall of money to lure him away from Florida State? Georgia has the pick of whoever they want, and they're a year into developing whoever they brought in last year. So what level of program would be interested in Luke?
I would say if I were Michigan, I would call Luke. I don't have a quarterback on my roster who can move the ball at all. He's got real upside. He doesn't have to come in and throw it all over the lot. We can run the football. We'll play good defense. He can learn pretty slowly, and I would have a guy that has the tools to be a very good quarterback a couple years from now. I would do that.
So you would bring him in to start in a couple of years.
Well, I'd bring him in to compete for the job right now. He may be the starter this year if I were Michigan. With all the problems they've had, I'm saying somebody will throw some money at Luke. Luke's got talent, and I think Brock has talent. Brock is relatively talented. He's 6'2", 220. He's got a good arm. He's tough. I think he'd have a chance to go play somewhere. It was well thought of coming out of Tennessee. He's a kid that, who knows? I mean, you might be surprised by some of those offers that those two guys would get.
I'm not saying that I'm off of those two players. You're having to switch sides. It's almost like an arbitration hearing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we want you. You know we want you, but how good are you really relative to the amount of money we'd have to pay to keep you? Because we're not willing to go to this number. And if you're going to, have a dalliance with this other program, then go. You're not good enough for me to go bend over backwards to bring you back.
Yes. No, right. Like Lagway would have Florida by the you-know-whats. They would have to do whatever he needs them to do.
Different talking
points. Yes, we don't have a Lagway on this roster, but you really like Luke quite a bit. And we're not sure about Brock yet. I mean, he does some things that I like. I'd love them both to stay. My fear is you're going to lose both of them. And I don't know if juggling like this necessarily is going to help that situation. If you think Luke is the long-term answer, I'm just asking the question, do you just ride with him now and make him your starter and let him go through the lumps?
I really thought that the move to start the second half was going to be very telling. And they did start with Luke, and they gave Luke several drives. I think you might need to ride or die at this point. But if he leaves, he leaves. For me, I feel like every decision that you have to make, because if you're going to stick with Mike, and I think you will.
I don't think you have a choice.
Right, okay, so we both agree that they're going to stick with Mike. I think every decision that you make at this point has to be about talent acquisition for 2025. It has gotten so bad that you have to respond unequivocally in 2025 with a successful season. We can define our terms. I'd say 8 or more wins. But you're going to have to do everything you can monetarily to make sure that that happens, because kids for the 2026 cycle aren't going to listen to you unless you at least do that much. Your reputation is so damaged as Mike Norvell at this point.
Yes, it is.
That you can't have a 6-win season next season. Can't do it. It's not good enough for those kids to pay attention.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know. If you win 2 games this year and you won, it's like you're starting like he first got here, which is maddening for us to have to talk about.
But can you do that on the trail when you've already been somewhere for 6 years?
If you've got a staff full of recruiters and they can sell it, and a bunch of guys that work their ass off, unlike this group in recruiting, you might be able to do enough to salvage your time here. I don't know. I mean, with 7 wins or something like that, you might. You would cite the huge turnaround. Now you would have to largely ignore the fact that you were having to turn it around for a second time, but nonetheless.
Yeah, but if you're going to keep them, then we're here, and we have to operate.
You just have to operate with that. Some things are going to be used against you. There's no getting away with it. I mean, this is what this season wrought. This is what you have now. This is what you've done.
Well, and to be sure, you're at a poker table and you're not the chip leader. You know, you're in dire need of some cards, some community cards to help you out in this moment. But how do you play? And my thing is, if you're keeping Mike, then I think it's every move you make has to be, does it make me better at acquiring talent? And so that goes for coaching decisions, that goes for roster retention decisions. And I think that acquisition of talent has to be geared towards next year. I don't think you can play the we'll be back in 2026 game. You could have done that this past year and played this schedule out and said, wait, do you see what we're going to build towards in 2025? It's so bad now that I don't think you get if we can ramp it up, Mike, next season, then we could go somewhere.
Yeah, I wonder how quickly you go from 2-10 to 8-4. I mean, what is possible? You can say that there are schools when they got the quarterback correct, and let's say all of this I go back to a few things here. He's made a lot of mistakes on and off the field, but I'm going to continue to beat this drum. At the end of the day, so, we talk about trying to evaluate young players. We talk about watching, what Luke does well, what he still has a long way to go with, what Brock does well, what he still has a long way to go with. Really, every time we start to have the conversation, I feel compelled to say, let's stop doing this. Because as I said all of last week and the week before, and I said on the pregame show about going into this game against Miami, just watch the 2 offensive lines. Ours and theirs. Go look at the difference between our offensive line and their offensive line, in particular in the run game. And they ran up and down the field on us. They struggled to protect Ward some in this game, and that's a testament to our defensive line that can make plays. I thought that's the second week in a row, by the way, that you've gotten a good performance on the interior of the defensive line, in particular from Darrell Jackson.
Darrell's been good.
Yeah. It only took 3.5 years, but he's been good. Maybe he'll come back.
You can't give him a win or above replacement, though, can you? Because we're not winning.
No, but he's played well lately. I guess I'd go back to this, though, and tell you, Tom, that their offensive line lines up and lets you know they're going to run the ball in obvious situations and converts. 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, I'm going to run the ball with Martin. You're not going to tackle him.
Well, you're not going to align properly.
That's frustrating. It's another reason why that change is probably going to be made as well. But you can see the difference in what's possible. If you can just block in the run game, it changes everything about who you are.
That is the simplest. That's the way to feel better in the circumstance. If you're looking for hope,
And we all are right now.
How differently would you feel if we had an above-average offensive line? Not a good one, but an above-average offensive line.
Well, we wouldn't be in this predicament if we had an above-average offensive line. We wouldn't be 1-7. We would have had a win against Duke. We would have had a win against Memphis. We would have had a win against SMU. We would have had a win against Georgia Tech. We would have had several wins at this point with a better-than-average offensive line. We don't have an average offensive line. We have a terrible offensive line. But a better-than-average? My God. It would look like the greatest offensive line you'd ever seen.
This is why your short-term fixed prescription, I think, does fit and gets you closer to, from a talent acquisition standpoint, 8 from 2, is if you have a good offensive line. Now, here's the issue, is that because you had a terrible offensive line, the problem you've got next year is greater than the problem you have this year. You've created a bigger mess for yourself to fix because players tune you out, players want to leave, coaches have to go. Turmoil is here. Your reputation is shot. So the issue this past offseason was about, hey, how do we retool on the fly? This one is about convincing kids that you're not in a total rebuild. It's also going to be more expensive to go get said offensive linemen, and to convince them, you got to make a pitch. They've got to believe it, that, hey, it's not just you I'm bringing in to play left guard. I'm bringing in 4 more guys like you. Let's get y'all in a group text to talk about how good we're going to be.
It's so frustrating. They had the kid. They had Carter Smith, the IU offensive lineman. He's a tackle. He wanted to come here. I don't know what went wrong, but we screwed it up at the last second. He visited Florida State December 11th, 2023. We thought we were going to get him. Everybody thought we were going to get him. He left the meeting with Florida State and withdrew his name from the freaking transfer portal. We screwed it up so bad. And he's kicking ass in the Big Ten as one of the best. This is so, you had that. Now, I'm not telling you you're good if you get him because you've got other problems. The other 4 offensive linemen would still be here, and they're not any good at all. And somehow Maurice Smith can't play a lick anymore, and so he snaps every time. It's getting maddening watching that.
Yeah, agreed. So when you're asking yourself the question about every coach, go down the line, does this help me with talent acquisition? It's no more about development. It's no more about game planning or game day. The biggest problem you have right now is you don't have enough good players to get you from A to B, to get you out of the hole. How do I get there?
But my point is, this staff screwed it up so bad when they had opportunities to bring in kids that would have made a difference, one of them being an offensive lineman. The Nick Scorton kid who's at A&M and kicking ass, or was at A&M and kicking ass? He's there now. No, he is there. That's where he chose A&M. We had him too.
Well, but he visited there first. That's the one I don't understand. Was he supposed to visit us first and he flipped his itineraries? Because he went on their campus and he never left.
Well, when he finally went there, he did visit us. He had visited us.
I thought we were next up. Okay.
Well, there had been, let's put it this way. The discussions had already been had, and by the time that those discussions were wrapped, it looked good for us. And then somehow he was able to go on that visit to A&M, and we never got him back.
Yeah.
So they got to stop screwing up these opportunities when they get kids to come in.
Yes, agreed. This is where the philosophy we're aligned, because I'm saying, does this make me? Am I a good talent acquisitionist?
Yeah,
acquisitionista. Am I good at it? No, not currently.
No.
So I need to get better in that place. And okay, this is why I would make the change at this position, at that coordinator, at this. Our reputation was we were portal badasses because we had a much more strict way of looking at people. Do they fit and integrate into the machine that we have going right now?
Yeah, and we were also able to take advantage of that market in a way that many other schools were reluctant. There were more than just Clemson people who thought that the portal was not necessary. There were a lot of programs who were like, it's not necessary. We're good. We recruited well. We'll be all right. I don't want to do that. I'm not in the market for that. And so we aggressively understood we had to do it. And Mike did a great job with that, and he gets credit for it. But now everybody understands it, and they've all got collectives, and they all got money. And soon everybody will have at least a baseline of money that they're able to operate in that space with, and your decided advantage is gone. So now you're competing with people in a way you weren't competing before for the for the transfer portal players, which by definition means you're going to hit on fewer of them because there's more competition than there was the first go around.
And you have to recruit it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right. It's the same thing, just a different level. Now, I appreciate the portal because typically a guy who comes in here is intrinsically motivated.
yeah.
But it seems like the last crop, some are. Like, I wish we see a whole hell of a lot more of Sione Lolahea. I would love to see more of him because every time he's on the field for a drive, feels like we're making plays or feels like we're around the ball more often.
I don't disagree with that.
But we don't have a bunch of Siones that we brought in out of this transfer portal class.
AC counts C. Right. Say what you want about Prime. Get talent on FSU regardless of a win total. Yes, clown moments, but our recruiting would be on lock. Kirby wasn't the best coach, but stacked talent. Miami doing the same right now. Here's one thing I will tell you. First of all, I've ripped Prime Dion, I should say, for obvious reasons many times, and he's given us countless opportunities to rip him. But you're not wrong in terms of how well he would do at Florida State in recruiting. I think that's true. I think you're accurate to say that. If he was all in, I think you're right. He'd recruit well. There'd be a lot of other headaches to deal with, but he'd recruit well. He would. I don't want to go that route. Many people do. That's fine. But just to your point that you made, I have no problem reading that and then pointing out what you said and saying that I think that's probably pretty accurate. Know your body and transform your life with DexaFit Tallahassee. It's your go-to science-backed health insight. That DEXA scan gives you the most accurate body composition reading available. You get bone density, you get the muscle mass, you have the subcutaneous and visceral fat. Get the data that you need to track your progress, and you can make very real changes by working smarter, not harder. Right now, you can get a DEXA scan and red light therapy for only $99. It's normally $184. Call 850-510-7728 or visit DexaFit Tallahassee's website to book at the number again, 850-510-7728. If you want to try a different way, when you call them, say Jeff25, that code will help you save 25% as well.
Time to head out on our annual guys fishing trip. Wait, where's Jimmy?
He just texted me saying he has to swing by his storage unit to get a couple of things. And now there's a truck blocking him in, and he won't be here for another hour.
That wouldn't have happened if he had just called Southeast Portable Buildings and got a unit right on his property.
I love mine. I have so much more space in my garage. Now I can finally park my truck in there.
Give them a call today, 850-580-6400. That's 850-580-6400, or visit them online for all their options at southeastportablebuildings.com.
You want me to mow your grass? I will mow your grass. You want me to blow your roof? I will blow your roof. Do you want me to pull your weeds? I will pull your weeds.
Are you tired of people screaming at you on the radio and TV? Yeah, me too. That's why I use the Lawn Johns for my lawn care and landscaping.
Hey, it's Mark from the Lawn Johns. We're not here to hype, just here to help. Go to thelawnjohns.com or look for our big purple truck. Big purple truck?
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. This Halloween season, guess who will be hiding under the bed? People that sell new compact cars, SUVs, and trucks. That's who. They're scared to death of Nissan's 2024 lineup. The reports are in. The new look Sentra is absolutely the best looking car you can buy for under $25,000. And the Nissan Titan is the only pickup truck on the market with 0% for 60 months and up to $8,000 off. Forbes Magazine, Wheels Division, test drove Nissan Frontier and Toyota Tacoma in head-to-head competition. Their conclusion was that the winner for driving and handling was the Nissan Frontier Pro 4X, hands down. And in an even scarier review, HotCars.com stated that the Nissan Rogue is one of the best-looking compact SUVs on the market. So if you drive an SUV or a truck, don't be afraid. Come test drive the best. Test drive a Nissan at Kraft. You see, in the midst of Halloween season, just like the rest of the year, Tallahassee's not a scary town. It's a Nissan town. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive in Tallahassee, or visit us at craftnissan.com.
When I get home from work, I'm ready to relax. So I call Swain Pools and Spas and put my pool in the back. I call Swain Pools and Spas. Now I'm soaking up some fun when I want to.
Truckloads of new and used Caldera and Hot Spring Spas are available now at Swain Pools and Spas. Don't wait. Get to Swain Pools and browse the best inventory to find the spa of your dreams. These won't last long, so come see us today. Just look for the huge sign on Tharp Street or call 386-7113 for Swain Pools and Spas.
I know what you're thinking right
right now. Where can I find a place to get my car fixed? And also check out some awesome new hot tubs and spas while I wait. Well, you're in luck. Because when you bring your car or truck in to get serviced at Tallahassee Car Care, it's under the same roof as Swain Pools and Spas for tires, brakes, batteries, tune-ups, oil changes, and all the service you need to get back on the road. Choose the certified technicians at Tallahassee Car Care. Drop by our shop on Tharp Street or visit online at TallahasseeCarCare.com.
With Progressive, you get more than savings. You get access to us through our mobile app, online chat, or by phone.
Oh, I see what you're doing here, Jamie. Giving me all these ways to stay in touch so I have no excuse not to. Well, you're in luck, because this guy's in the market for a new BFF.
Actually, all our customers can contact us this way.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just kidding.
But I am always up for Taco Pizza!
Jigsaw!
Get help from Progressive through the website, app, chat, or phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Every day, Cintas service reps help businesses get ready for the workday. They provide freshly laundered workwear delivered every week. Mats, mops, restroom and cleaning supplies. First aid and safety products to help your employees stay safe. They even test and inspect fire extinguishers and emergency lights. Cintas helps keep your business running smoothly. See what Cintas can do for you. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Southland Knoll writes, is it just me, or does Mike seem to have gotten fight back in him last week and today? I think he is embarrassed and betrayed by people he fought for and now knows he can only be loyal to the team. Well, I'm sure he's disappointed, bitterly disappointed, and I don't know if there's a feeling of betrayal. Thank you, South Florida Knoll. I read it wrong the first time. I said Southland Knoll. I don't know why I did that. Anyhow, I would just say that I think he's disappointed. I think he's under immense pressure, as one would be after they've engineered a 1-7 season. In which you're non-competitive on offense. Your offense is the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen at this level. It's quite literally. I've never seen an offense this bad before. They don't do anything well. There's not a single thing they do well. Normally, an offense has an identity that you could say, well, like for example, if you watch the service academies over the year, you're like, they run the option pretty well. If you're not disciplined, they'll gash you. They know how to do that. They're running a triple option. They've got a lot of things to throw off of it that if you're not careful, that can get you. But once you got a handle on it, they're dead in the water because they can't do anything else, right? But you would always be able to latch onto that one thing. If you saw a team that was pass happy and they spread you out and played with tempo, those teams would be effective because they had ways to win first down because that allows them to play tempo. So they just got to win on first down. And the good coaches that engineer that kind of an offense do all kinds of little things to get up 4 or 5 yards on first down. Now it's 2nd and 5, and here we go. We got you rolling, because the last thing on earth they want is a negative play or no yards on first down. Now tempo doesn't really work. But they do have something that they fall back on to make sure that they get those yards more often than they don't. They don't just fail at everything. Those offenses typically aren't real good in short yardage situations trying to run the ball because it's more finesse, but they have other things they are good at. And we don't do anything well.
Broken record, felt like Lawrence might have had a decent night if we gave the ball to him more than 6 times.
I think we only gave our running backs a grand total of 11 carries.
Yeah, because I got 5. That's correct. Yeah. It looked like there might have been a little something there. We'll never know.
I don't know. I doubt it. I think Miami would have just adjusted and taken it away, and then you'd have been screwed. I don't know.
You can allow them to adjust.
Yeah, I know. You can make them do it. Noel Kev says, I think a lot of the big-time kids want to play in the SEC or the Big Ten. That's where I think being in the ACC hurts us. They hear the hype of those two. Oh, of course. And they just watched it play out. They just watched an undefeated Power 5 champion get left out of the playoff in favor of one from that conference in which a loss apparently didn't matter at all. That's funny. Impactful writes, bro, Jeff, wide receivers drop the ball very well. Oh, man. That's funny. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it anymore. I sit there speechless when I watch these. Well, I'm not speechless. Maybe for long stretches. Did you laugh when I sent you that clip this morning? How great was that?
Yeah.
It's what you probably picture in your head is exactly what's happening.
Oh, I absolutely picture, yes. We won't reveal the circumstance specifically
Right.
of that video. But I will tell you that might be the same player. And when I watch the effort, quote unquote, air quotes, for blocking on the perimeter, I would dismiss you. You know what I mean?
You wouldn't be on the team.
No, especially after it's called out. You wouldn't be. I don't care that you might be reliable in other facets of the game. It's just.
Yeah, he's not good enough to.
None of these guys are. But
No.
the point is, Maximus, I think, put it in the chat too. Just there's so much jogging going on. There's so much looking like. Dominic Robinson said it not long ago. You can look like you're trying to get something accomplished on film. Like you can do that. You can manipulate what you do so it looks like you're. Oh, I was right there. Oh, if it didn't happen, I would have been right there. And on defense, I see that. It's easier to see on defense because tackling is a physical thing that everybody has an eye on. On offense, you have to kind of look for it a little bit more, the perimeter blocking. But when I see Earl Little play, and I see Omar Graham get downhill, and he's done it 2 weeks in a row. He's like Darrell Jackson. The both of them have just kind of emerged at the same time. When I see Edwin Joseph, I get that he was on a blitz assignment, and that's where he lit Cam Ward up. But we have a lot of dudes who blitz, and when they arrive, they have no idea what to do. Yesterday in the Buccaneers game, you saw it. KJ Britt in space against Bijan Robinson. Remember that play near the sideline?
Yeah.
KJ's coming downhill, and then he stops, and he looks at him. And they trade eyes, and Bijan goes, "You're not going to hit me? Well, I'm just going to run right by you then." When you see that stuff, where guys are gracefully arriving rather than kicking the door down, it just makes you so sick to your stomach. Because when Earl Little makes a play, you go, oh, yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like.
Well, I just watch other football games, and I see what it's supposed to look like everywhere.
You see Nebraska's safety play?
Yes.
Against Ohio State?
Yes. Man, go watch Iowa's safeties. Iowa's safeties are inspiring. When I watch them, I'm like, boy, these sons of bitches here ain't having it. It is nasty. Flying up. Every play I watch from them, they got other problems. But, buddy, playing fast, playing hard, playing mean on defense ain't one. Not at Iowa. It is all about it. And they come – the second they recognize run, they are flying to the football. I mean, no regard for their health. The hits are usually so violent, I'm like, ooh, they're going to flag her for that. Just because it's so violent.
Right. Yeah, it takes your breath away as you see the guy come downhill.
Yeah.
We had so many guys that did that in the recent past. You know, LaMarcus was one of them. Telvin was one of them.
LaMarcus was, yes.
Terrence Brooks would get into the act. You'd be like, woo, Terrence, good Lord.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes. Watching that kind of safety play, it's arousing. It is fun to watch.
I enjoy offensive line play where they snap and the offensive line doesn't gather to get their hands placed properly and then guide. They drive you off the ball instead. And that's what you saw out of Miami. We did a good job of neutralizing it, but we needed a second level guy to come up and make a play. But on those 3rd and 1s, on those 4th and 1s or 3rd and 2s, and they're running the ball and it's nothing fancy. It's a dive or whatever they're calling between the tackles.
Mm-hmm.
You see guys fire off the ball. And for us, we technically release from our position, place our hands, and look to use angles rather than drive people off the ball.
It's not good, Tom.
No. And it was the Miami game.
Yeah. I don't go in expecting to see those things anymore. I just do not. I go in expecting to see what we see. And, you know, I said to you earlier today, you and I were just catching up before the show. And I think we've grown so accustomed. This group has scarred us to the point where I think we've grown so accustomed to half-ass football, like non-committed sort of half-stepping football, that when you see somebody actually trying hard, you overvalue and praise it because it's so exceedingly different than the half-stepping you're accustomed to, that you see Earl Little play the way he's supposed to play, that football's supposed to be played, fast, violent. The last thing I say to my son before every one of his high school games when he leaves the house that morning, I give him a hug and I always wish him well. Play fast, play violent. And I just tell him that over and over again because this game, when in doubt, is about that. Play fast, play violent. If you make a mistake, do it fast and do it violently. Find somebody to punish. Find somebody to hit. You'll get yelled at for missing your assignment, but you're never going to get yelled at for playing fast and violently in football. And we've got dudes that half step. So when you see somebody playing fast, you're like, oh, look at this kid.
Right.
He's incredible. No, he's just playing football. He's just playing football.
Yeah. And that's where when you saw Barker, and I'm glad he was okay.
Me too.
That looked
that scared me.
Awful.
Yeah, that scared me. I was very worried for him.
And it was, but at least it,
Yeah. I like that kid, by the way.
When you saw him get, yes, and he makes mistakes. But
he makes a lot of mistakes.
But you know what he does? Yeah, he does what Earl Little.
Yeah, plays
does.
fast, plays hard.
Downhill.
Yes.
And Kirkland does that from time to time. But I've seen a couple of plays on Saturday where Kirkland kind of arrives, and this is where it has to stop.
Well, because it gets to be infectious, this whole situation. You infect your team with this half-stepping.
You cannot let that happen to that kid. And it might be about confusion with assignment, but what I'm saying is other players who have been here a long time, and there's one specifically that drives me up the wall, when they're allowed to do it, and then you see a redshirt freshman do it.
Yeah, I know. Sounds like you need a healthy happy hour.
God, yeah.
A natural and healthier way to experience a carefree moment. Less caring, Tom. Cornbread's THC gummies offer a balanced sense of happiness and relaxation. I know from having tried them that this is true. It's just the right dose. It is legal. No synthetic ingredients. As long as you're 21 years of age or older, you are good to go. And, it's a nice little happy hour. Doesn't have to be an everyday thing. Could be if you wanted to. Here's the deal. Go save money and try it out. See what I'm talking about. If you are a listener of the Jeff Cameron Show, you get 30% off your first order if you go to cornbreadhemp.com/warchant. Use promo code WARCHANT at checkout. Again, that is cornbreadhemp.com/warchant. Use code WARCHANT for 30% off your first order. And cheers to a healthier and happier you and happy hour.
Now, here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
Sunny and dry weather to start off the work week. High temperatures a little cooler today, but higher again by the end of the week. Staying in the mid-80s with lows in the 60s. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 61. Tuesday, mostly sunny with a slight chance of a shower. High of 84, low of 65. Wednesday as well with a high of 86. From Real Talk 93.3. This is Danielle Kelly.
For the elimination of termites, pests, and for a greener lawn too. Call Paul's. They'll get them all.
See Nice Tire and Auto Service at 4792 Bluntstown Highway today. The ASE trained technicians at Nice take the guesswork out of fixing your car. That's why wherever you see the Goodyear sign, you'll find what you want in tires and service. From preventative maintenance to a major overhaul and everything in between, you name it. Plus, Nice's services are backed by a nationwide limited warranty. Stop by Nice Tire and Auto Service. 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Don't miss TSC Tuesdays every Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m. during the Greg Tish Show. Find out what's happening at Tallahassee State College every Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3 FM.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
The future of cool, comfortable sleep is here. Introducing the new Sleep Number Climate Cool Smart Bed. The only smart bed in the world that actively cools and effortlessly adjusts to both of you. Sleep up to 15 degrees cooler on each side. It actively cools to keep you cool and comfortable throughout the night. Save on smart beds now during our fall sale, exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
This is Brian Kilmeade, and I'm excited to be on the air in the capital city. Be sure to tune into my show. I'll be giving you all the latest news, information, and the truth you demand. The Brian Kilmeade Show is live from 9 till noon, right here on Real Talk 93.3.
Real Talk fact number 44. Banging your head against the wall for 1 hour burns 150 calories. This is Real Talk 93.3, Tallahassee's Real Talk station.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You know, it's funny, Tom. I guess it's not funny, but turn of phrase. Miami finished with 439 yards in this game. That was their season low. You'd love to be like, that's awesome. We held them to a season low. Now, it's not necessarily awesome, but it is their season low. You know what I think of when I see that Miami finished with 439 yards? That we would die to see 439 yards. And to have that be their season low is astonishing. We were held to 243 yards. Once again, a far cry from 300 yards.
Yeah, so we did sign on in the fourth quarter for the postgame show.
Yeah.
So it was in-game postgame. And I can tell you because I was looking at the stat broadcast, the official stat
at that
carrier,
time we had 100 and something.
188.
Yeah.
188 before garbage time. And it's just
Tom,
in
if
this
you
day and age-
remove, I got to tell you this right now, because to your point, I'm going to accentuate your point. If not for a broken play, early snap, fumble, spinity-do, 4th and 1, crazy 45-yard run, and the last drive when Miami didn't care and had all their backups in and was playing in a soft shell. How many yards do we have? That's you'd have 100 and
yeah.
You'd have
125.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Right. And that's where, we harp on the defense a lot, and rightly so. I'm not going to hide from that. They do things that
They
drive
still
you
can't
up
get
a
off the
wall.
field on
It's
third
8 out of 10 in the first half.
Yeah.
And one of the misses was covered up by a fourth down conversion. So when you had a chance to get him off the field 10 times, they effectively only came off the field once in those situations. That's not good. Zone coverage busts are awful. People are saying 3rd and fuller so much now that Gene and I talked about doing a drinking game if we see it during the game. And you'd be wasted.
You'd be blitzed.
We should not do. Actually, you'll be there on Saturday for the North Carolina post.
I forgot I'll be doing the post game
That's
with
right.
you.
Around 7:00.
Big time.
It could be.
Yeah, we can have
we,
a lot of
if
fun
we
with it.
decide to play a bingo game. But it's just in this day and age, it's built for you to get 300 yards a game.
Yeah, you have to really, really, really suck. Like be the worst in the country at it to not be able to do that. Hey, I would tell you something else. And this has nothing to do with nothing because we got our ass kicked and it really wasn't all that competitive. But somebody ought to whisper into my man Mario Cristobal's ear. Buddy, you've got boobs. We're going to have to stop with the Phil Mickelson boobies shirt. Wearing a tight shirt as if you're 27 and in the prime of your weightlifting days is not for you. You need to have a jacket of some kind, perhaps a man's ear. You need to do something to help with that look because when he jogged out there and those boobs were flopping everywhere, I thought this thing was going to get rated NC-17 in the moment. I was like, what are we doing out here?
I forgot about NC-17.
Boobies flying everywhere. This is an episode of Baywatch.
What was NC-17? Let's see. In your lifetime. Showgirls was when I was a kid.
Showgirls was. I was about to say Showgirls.
I think Felix the Cat was too.
I never saw that.
I never saw it either, but apparently it was NC-17.
Striptease was.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think striptease was.
There you go. Florida State's own.
And then I think
Congressman David Dilbeck.
I think was Sex Lies and Videotape, which was a great movie. No, I don't think that was NC-17. I don't think it existed back then at that time.
I feel like Mario could tell you.
He probably
if
could.
it was.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was a great movie. No. I don't know, but NC-17, yeah. When Mario came jogging out there, I was like, Mario, you must not have friends. You gotta, a good buddy who knows his friend is going to be taking the field under the bright lights with the camera fixed upon him. When you're in the locker room and you turn to Mario, you got to say, Mario, you know I love you. And this is the reason I bring it up. Let's get a jacket. Let's get maybe a 3/4 zip, a little something that will help you out here, because those things are dangling. You look like a female dog that just gave birth to a litter of puppies. We've got teats everywhere.
I was going to say, once upon a time, there was an assistant coach here that coached, actually, he was the head coach elsewhere, where you gave him a nickname on the air.
I did. And you were driving when you heard me say it.
I about drove off the road because that most certainly was fine-worthy.
Yeah, it was twice they showed him at a weird angle at one point. I'm like, that's side boob. We don't need Mario's side boob. This is not good. Stop this. Somebody should talk to him. Oh, Natural Born Killers was NC-17. Was it? I'm laughing at you guys in the chat right now. Yeah. Amato, yeah, he did. He had some big ones.
That might have been the guy.
Towards the end of his career there. Yeah, that was. But I did. I saw that over the weekend, and I just thought, again, not much we can say right now. But
Wonder Bleeps, I believe, was,
was
the name. I could not believe it. I called the hotline immediately. I said, Millar, don't let him say that again. You're going to get fined.
I was mad, wasn't I? I was ranting about him.
Because he was beating us.
Well, that's not why I was mad. I was mad for other reasons, but yeah. It was ridiculous that you lost a
Wonder Bleeps.
Mm-hmm. Peak at 17.8 million viewership. Game 2. Do you think Game 3 tops it tonight and they get into the 18s? I think so.
Yeah, I think they might push 20 tonight. Now, they really, really need a good result for that to ever happen again this series. They push 20. It's a good product.
You get superstars everywhere, yeah.
If you can pull 17 on a Friday and you could pull 13, 14 on a Saturday against college football, you could pull 20 on a Monday, 100%.
Yeah, the Saturday game averaged 13.4 million viewers, peaked at 16.5.
They're going to peak over 20 then, yeah.
Yeah, they peaked at 17 something for the Friday night game. And just as a sports fan, I want to say once again, there's nothing like sports, man. That was so cool. I don't root for the Dodgers. I don't root for the Yankees. Neither are my team. I like Freddie Freeman. I think he's one of the good guys in the sport. At least he seems to be. Everybody that's ever played with him or worked with him seems to love him. All the stuff he does off the field, all that. And he's been a great player for a long time. He has professional at-bats. Wish he was on the Pirates. Anyhow, that was so cool for him, as injury-riddled as he's been for the last month with no power to speak of. That's why I didn't think it was possible he did a grand slam. He hasn't had any power because of that ankle. But, buddy, he pissed on that ball. My goodness.
If you
gracious.
If you serve it middle, yeah.
I mean, watching that from behind the pitcher cam is so cool. That is just, it's a lot of fun. Hey, you know what else is fun? Is this statistic. While I was looking at Jameis's stats and talking about what he'd done in that game for Cleveland against Baltimore, I came across a bunch of other quarterback stats. And here's one for you that made me laugh. So, every time you watch the Colts, they're in games with a chance to win, but Anthony Richardson can't play. he's not ready is a better way of saying it if you're a Colts fan, I suppose. He's a long way off. Remember, he had played precious little football when he was drafted where he was. He didn't have that many starts in college at quarterback. He wasn't a 3-year starter or anything like that. He was a guy who had a minimal number of stats. The old Bill Parcells rule about a quarterback should have played 24 games or whatever in college, if you're even going to consider him. I don't think that really applies anymore, but certainly I think he only played, something like 9 in college. That's not enough. Well, here you go. Since 2000, quarterbacks with 250 dropbacks or more, Anthony Richardson is rated 222nd in completion percentage. Now, you say that doesn't mean anything to me, Jeff. How many other quarterbacks have had since 2000 250 dropbacks? 225. He's 222nd out of 225 quarterbacks that have had 250 dropbacks since 2000 in completion percentage. Not quite dead ass last of every quarterback since 2000, but, third to last.
Yeah, that's like that guy who had the QBR of a 2.
I remember we had fun with that guy's name. Remember that? We looked it up. Who had the lowest? What was that guy's name? It was great. But, the Colts are in that game. If Flacco's out there, they're going to win the game. Probably. Which was stunning in and of itself because it's against Houston, who's good. Good work out of you, brother. Monday Smash tonight?
Monday Smash tonight, replete with alcohol, I believe.
Oh, get after it. Have a good time. Everybody tune in, 7 o'clock. Be well, everybody. We will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, peace.